What's going on, everyone? Welcome to tonight's stream. It is those lovely Monday nights that we get to hang out, talk about some D&D stuff, and listen to some chilled out tavern music. Man, not gonna lie, today was a long one. Not that anything kind of crazy was going on in the world or in my life, but just that work kind of dragged on. So enjoying the fact that I get to hang out here tonight for a bit. Not gonna do a super long stream, maybe hour and a half, 2 hours probably at most. Finish up around midnight because I'm actually watching my brother's house for the week. So I was over there a little bit ago and gotta go back over. So Enforcer Hound, what's going on, man? Stacy, hello. Zingy, what's up, buddy? Attempting to make my first cleric. Need the break after annoying college. What's up, Glenn? How you doing tonight, buddy? Making your first cleric. Funny enough, I actually made a cleric today myself. So maybe we can discuss that a bit. Because it kind of alludes to what I one of the things that I want to talk about today. So we'll jump into that. Good news though. What's the good news? Got a watermelon. Oh, well, I guess that is good news. I have two of them. I got two of them over at my brother's house, so. Playing old school RuneScape right now. I started playing Friday. Guess how much time I have in it. Tell me, Zingy, that RuneScape, I had months and years into old school RuneScape back in the day. Back when I was in like middle school and high school. My two friends, 27 hours, boy, you got, I mean, that's a good one. That's a good amount of time. Yeah, that's a hell of a time. But yeah, have fun with that. I used to play it a lot. I used to do I used to go, there was a town, shoot, I'd have to pull up the map. Old RuneScape map. I gotta see this. I gotta pull it out. That's all you've been playing. It's a fun game. It's a hell of a fun game. Stuck on the Destiny series. I put too many hours into that. Whew. Yeah, my other buddy, he's still huge into Destiny. Still plays it daily. You think you need help, Zingy? Okay, wait, what? Here I have, okay, hold on. Let me bring this up. Okay, hold on. We're gonna copy transform. Okay, so we got the map. You kind of have to play it. Yeah, that is kind of the thing about Destiny is you do have to put the grind in. I've been getting addicted to Morpigs. Yeah, Morpigs. Again, that was like my whole middle school, high school era was just playing MMORPGs with my friends. So good luck with that. I can't give you help. I was addicted to them. I played like every single one. What I used to do back in the day was I used to go in the Dwarven Mines. There's a tunnel that brings you out into Falador, and I would just do mining runs all day. That's how I made my money in that game. I mean, I want to say I still have my old character, Like I can log into the account and everything. And I want to say I have like 1.7 mil. I have like a bunch of old rare stuff, like old rune weapons and armor and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a hell of a fun game. And you had to like pay to get out into the members area and stuff like that. The grand tree up here, this is actually where I spent a lot of time too, because there was like you could become a bartender up there. It was crazy. It was crazy. RuneScape was awesome. Missed those days when things were simpler. So yeah, back to cleric. So one of the things that my plan is to make this account, will buy a membership. Yeah, you got to unlock like the rest of the half of the games. Almost as big as your Dwarf Romantic map. Now that map, that RuneScape map is huge. So the thing I actually wanted to talk about tonight relating to a cleric is actually something that I have talked about. I've talked about his channel before. I'm gonna pull up a link here. Membership, you can buy bonds with gold, which gives you 14 days. Oh, Jesus. All right, so but yeah, never made one. Hesitant because I don't know anything about God, let alone how I'd RP it. Well, so that's the thing. The thing is that when it comes to playing a cleric, it's more about how you don't really actually have to know a lot about the gods. Playing a cleric is more about the domain than anything else. Let me pull this up here. So where's my, there it is. Okay. So playing a cleric is more than anything just about the domain itself. So when you play a cleric, you're obviously going to have a ton. Shoot, is there a way? View official. There we go. Glad that's in there. Specifically a light domain Earth Ganassi was the idea. So let me ask you this. Are you more focused on the fact that they're an Earth Ganassi, or like is there something that really drew you to the Earth Ganassi stuff, or is there something more that really drew you to the light domain, or is it that it's the combination of those? Because I mean, you could very easily design like a really, you know, thoughtful background behind it, you know, in order to really play it up. Now, was thinking she favors spells as either holy light, fire, or lava. Okay. So okay, that's interesting. I can see that. Because yeah, the lights, the light domain is kind of about bringing things into existence, like it says here, birth and renewal, truth and vigilance, revealing stuff that the sun is able to prevail over. But you do get access to fire-based spells, so that kind of makes sense. So let me think about this. An Earth Ganassi, a female. Trying to just note some here. DM said there's going to be a ton of undead. Okay. So, you need a backstory for this. And one of the things that you can do, and I'm gonna give you this, okay? Because this kind of is the thing that I wanted to talk about tonight. So there's a guy who is he's on YouTube. His name is Ryan Doyle, and he goes by the channel The Verdigris Table. He also has a Patreon, and on that Patreon, he announced this morning that he is putting out this book called The Game Master's Compendium of Explosive Creation. And what this is a collection of different backgrounds and ways to develop your character. Essentially, what you do is you roll dice, or you can just pick and choose, and you draw from these pages to develop your character and kind of the story that unfolds with them. I did this today and got myself a fairly, fairly decent character that I'm pretty happy about. He has no money. Well, let me tell you, if you join his Discord, which I will drop an invite link. So this link, if you go to his Discord, he talked about it in his chat today, and you may be able to reach out to him. Actually, no, I just reread it. He has it in his post. He made it public. He wants everyone in this Discord. Everyone in this Discord is inner circle, and I want you to have access to this preview. You can get this. Now, the thing is that he only has a few backgrounds so far, and that's because this is like the very first preview that he's put up about this. So if your character is an acolyte, which is very fitting for clerics, this can work into that, which is actually what I put together today. So I kind of want to go through how I did this and how this really worked for me, and how I would approach this if I was making a character from the ground up. Because it is essentially what I did, but I did have a little bit already, almost as much as you, in line of what I want to do. So let me pull up my dice roller here. Not sure what Earth Ganassi are like. Trying something new. Okay. So, Earth Ganassi, tracing their ancestry to the genies of the elemental planes. Wait, why is this? This is only telling you about Ganassi in general. Where's the Yarth Ganassi? So, the thing to understand about Ganassi is that they are, depending on how you want to play it, Ganassi can be from the different planes of chaos, from the plane of earth, the plane of air, water, or fire, or you could play it as kind of in the same way that tieflings and Aasimar are sometimes played. They are half genie. That's the entire idea behind it. For example, one of the players in my Phandalin 5 game, Albina Ember, she is a fire Genasi. She was born to human parents, and she was she was born to human parents. She developed her Genasi heritage early in life. I won't go into spoilers just because I know Stacy plays in her game and I don't want to reveal secrets about her backstory. So you can have somebody like that who was born to human parents, and then it developed and showed up upon, within the first, few years of life. You could also play a Genasi in the way that I played a water Genasi cleric. Oh shit, I still have his character sheet. Let me pull him up. Valkyr was Baller. There he is. So I played a water Genasi Tempest cleric, where he was born a water Genasi. He from a young age, well, so for one, he was born a water Genasi. He doesn't know the origin of his parents, and all that he knows from those who raised him was that he was left on the doorstep of a temple to the god Valkyr. Valkyr is the god of the ocean and storms and tempests. And these acolytes at the temple, they saw this as like a sign that Valkyr was watching over them and that this would be a disciple of him, and they kind of revered him as this as almost like not necessarily a prophet, but like prophetic, that he would come to them. And so he was raised in a very warm, kind of caring situation, but he was very chaotic. He was very bombastic and kind of did his own thing. And what happened was he grew up with this very large head about himself, and he thought that he was the reincarnation of Valkyr. He thought that he was like, what's the word I'm looking for? An aspect of Valkyr, like a material version of him, and that his goal in life was to increase his following and create his own church, so that when he died a valiant death in battle, he would ascend to godhood and take his role and oust the previous version of Valkyr and instill himself. But he was born a Genasi. So the way that you kind of play it up is really up to you. I mean, one of the things that you could do, another option is, instead of like human parents or just born that way, where it's like, shown up a few years into life, or happens upon birth, depending on your parents, you could have it be that like somebody who is from the elemental plane of Earth, a Terran, came to the material plane and, fell in love with and mated with a human, thus creating this character. I know I don't want to name her Terra. It's on the nose. I mean, there is the one character from Teen Titans whose name was Terra, who had the ability to control Earth. You could. I'm trying to think what a good name would be. Let's Google it. What are some good names for Earth Genasi? Oh wait, why am I searching? I would have this. I could have this here. Random name generator. There we go. Fantasy name generator. That's what I was looking for. All right. So wait, these are fire. Here we go. So these are going to be the ones that are, why does that not zoom in? There we go. All right. Ooh, Umber. That's a pretty badass name for a female Ganassi. Marble, kind of off on that. Peridot. Ooh, Garnet. I'm kind of feeling those. I'm liking that. Let's clear these out. I like Peridot. I want her father to be a genie too, and her mother is a human, but stepfather is like a halfling. Imagine cleric, super tall. Her parents not so much. Okay, I get that. I think that's not in the realm of impossible. No, dude, nothing's impossible. I mean, her again. It's what is the earth? What's the earth genie? I think it's the Tao. Yeah. So here we go. So these are the Tao. These are the genie that, these are the genie that Earth Ganassi actually come from. So this is kind of the embodiment that you will be, considering and thinking of whenever going into that. Like it says, Dower, generally evil beings that saw nothing wrong with enslaving others, despite greatly fearing the loss of their own freedom and despising whoever would imprison them. That is kind of the idea about the Tao. However, they would almost... Cool, minus that part. They take pride in things that are well made and plots that are well planned. So, you could have it be that the father was a Tao and that the mother is like a human blacksmith. That the Tao, this Tao genie saw the craft that she made and was drawn to that, that he was able to see how well she was able to craft and create, and he saw the good in that. And so, they started talking, one thing leads to another, birds and the bees and all that stuff. But I mean, it would be, depending on how you want to play this, you could have it be that, if you did go the route of the mother being a blacksmith and being a craftsperson, you could have it that she was foraging for lava at a volcanic site, and while she was doing that, she was creating these, she was making these crafts out of volcanic glass. How would the light cleric fit in this? Well, that's exactly it. Light clerics are about bringing the light to the world. This beauty and justice and vigilance, to rid the world of darkness. And what does fire, what does fire do? Fire lights the world that we have. It allows us to view in the dark. And going the Earth Ganassi route, it could be one of those things where one of the things that the mother maybe made is she was harvesting volcanic glass, or she was harvesting lava to make volcanic glass, where you lay out your lava on cooling sheets as it forms into these natural designs, and then you can forge that, or you mean not forge it, but you could like blow it with glass, essentially making volcanic glass. And with that, she possibly, with the aid of someone else, casting a perpetual light spell on these things, creating these lanterns that are made of glass, this volcanic glass. Is that I wouldn't put it past it to be lava glass blowing. Lava glass. Yep, lava glass is 100% a thing. Right there. Totally a thing. So, the mother could be a lava glass blower. Maybe she lives on maybe she lived on an island where that had volcanic, activity. The genie could have seen these beautiful works of art, these orbs that she created where a light was cast inside of it to allow for the world to be bathed in this beauty at night. And the genie saw this and, became drawn to it, started following the mother around, staying at a distance. And possibly one day, this is something, maybe one day she is out there harvesting some lava. There's a volcanic shudder and she trips and almost falls into the lava. And the genie, reaches out and saves her. And the two of them bond in time, eventually, coming together in unison. Yeah, it does look like, gemstones. It may have reminded him of his native plane. The looks of these, maybe she made, maybe some of the art that she made was more like this, where it looked like flowers. And he felt that it looked like some of the stuff that reminded him of his home plane. Okay, maybe something trapped this genie on the material plane. Maybe some evil magic that bound him there. It has worn this Tao down over generations. Literally the fear of losing their own freedom, not being able to return to their home plane of existence. And he has found this spark of beauty in this world that he is able to like benefit from. Maybe a noble gene. Yeah. Something that caused this father, something that caused this genie to be shuttered and sent to the material plane, locked off from his plane of birth, and the beauty of it and the wonders of it. And he has been angry, has been, furious for years. This genie might have been the reason why the volcano appeared in the first place thousands of years ago. His arrival, his fury of being sequestered from his home plane, and he rumbles and roars and creates this volcano. And over generations, people living around there, they migrate to it. They find an odd magic to this place, so they set up towns around it. And this Tao, he's angry and he's vengeful, and from that, possibly destroying some of them, but eventually meeting this human craftsperson who is not just there to live off of all of this stuff, but is putting something back in. The soul is better for growing stuff, obviously. Yeah. And yeah, no worries. Oh, the soil. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, the magic that the Tao is just, imbuing into the world is making things grow faster. So, people start building up around there. That could definitely play into this and help them develop, why it is that this all happened. And then one day, that human blacksmith, that craftswoman, meets this Dao. He saves her, or, you know, something happens where they come into contact, and now the two of them have seen, you know, he sees the beauty in what she's creating, he sees the beauty in what he has done, that in his torment, in his strife of being locked away from his home, has brought people together, has allowed for exotic foods to grow on this island. And while he only sees the death and destruction of this volcano that he created, and it's birthed out of his fury, that he doesn't see what is beyond that. Would it be too much for Dad to have been a noble genie kicked off his throne and stuck on the island? I don't think it would be too much, because the reality is you're focusing on your character. It is possible to have your character be your character's father be a noble genie, but that aspect of it would really only come into play should the campaign or game that you're going to play in start to ebb closer to going to the plane, the elemental plane of Earth, where her nobility might be a good thing or a bad thing. Why was, you know, if you do go that route, why was he kicked off of his throne? I would say if you wanted it to be, you make it disappear, please. I would say if it was me and you wanted to go the noble route, I would say possibly this Dao genie, it was more of a bombastic, kind of loud, aggressive child to a grander genie, and the grand genie sent them to the material plane in order to understand his place in the world, and to kind of teach him a lesson about not being so not destroying everything, or not just being this tempestuous character. Yeah, I guess. Now you can go into what's in here if you want to go more. To humble them, that's the word. And it takes many generations for that to happen, because genie live for hundreds of thousands of years. So again, you could have it be that, if not going the noble route, I would probably have it be that, this Dao was native to the elemental plane of Earth, has been there for some time, just kind of doing their own stuff, and all of a sudden they are just pulled out of their plane and are now here in the material plane because some high-level wizard cast a spell to pull them to him. He cast Summon Elemental and pulled this Dao, and the Dao was angry, was spiteful to him, and because of that, the wizard locked him within something, and then that was thrown into a volcano, and then he was stuck there. And over time, this capsule burst, but he's not allowed to leave the plane because now, maybe the wizard's dead or something like that, and he's not able to return. He's locked here. That might be something you could do. What background to make this character? Well, that depends on what you want them to be. I mean, to say that they are a Earth Genasi light cleric, if you wanted them to maybe follow in the mother's footsteps, absolutely, you could absolutely do that. I don't know if they're is. I don't think there's an official artist background, but you could do clan crafter. That would be, you could do clan crafter. The other idea I had for Dad was he got through to the world because he was close to overthrowing a noble genie. Yeah, could do that too. Again, the stuff that plays into the parents is more just gonna have basis of like, is there stuff that like the DM who's running this gonna have to play with to maybe pull in your character's backstory into the world. If they were a rebellious noble genie that was trying to overthrow somebody, does that play into effect if they meet another if they meet somebody else, you know, who is another Ganassi? Oh, guild artisan. Yeah, no, yeah, guild artisan, guild merchant. And why did Mom have a step husband? Okay, so here's the thing. So why did she have a step husband? Well, trying to think. Why would okay, so here's something. You have this noble Dao has met this human craftswoman. They have fallen in love. They have spent time together, produced offspring. They have this young Earth Ganassi child, unnamed currently, but some adventurer, some party shows up and finds out. They hear the rumors that there is a Dao living in this volcano. They go there, they track down the Dao, and they either kill the Dao or they trap the Dao into some, cliche genie in a lamp kind of a thing. And oh, you know what? Actually, no, here you go. I gotcha. Okay. You want the father to be possibly like overthrowing a noble genie. So here's what you do. You have it where the father was sent to the material plane to basically just be forgotten about. Okay. Corrupt, terrible, let's send you to this volcano. This is where you are stuck to. Okay. Over time, meets the mother, falls in love. They have a kid. Okay. Yeah, exactly. They're exiled. Okay. And it is through this love that this Dao is starting to change. It's through having a daughter. It's through having brought, life into the world, that there are the ones that this Dao is related to, have, maybe they have some insight into how he's changed. He's no longer this rambunctious, this rebellious character anymore. He has found love. He has found civility. But the noble that he tried to overthrow does not care. He wants him out of the picture. One day he sends other Jinn there. He sends other Dao or some creatures, some elementals, and either, I would say captures the father in some kind of vessel and takes him back to the elemental plane of Earth and has him there, and is now the father is now out of the picture. The mother does not know what's going on, has no clue whatever happened to her husband, whatever happened to this Jinn or this Dao that she has fallen in love with, that she has, had child with. And over time, her heart breaks. She finds another love, this stepfather, this halfling, that is maybe another craftsman. Maybe he creates and crafts. And from that, growing up, the cleric would not know, would not be told necessarily that her father was some noble genie, or had was some Dao from the volcano nearby that they collect lava from, every day or something like that. Would just grow up knowing that they were maybe a little different. Or you could have it be they grew up human until suddenly their 18th birthday. Everybody loves those, one day I suddenly changed stories. So you could have it be that one day when they became an adult, they suddenly, things about them changed, okay? Their skin grew rocky and hard. Their flesh tone changed from, what it normally was to a dull gray color. They suddenly had these strange abilities where they could, seemingly walk over tough terrain or get closer to lava, and stuff like that. They had some innate connection to the earth suddenly, and they bug their mom, like, what is going on? What is happening to me? And finally she breaks down and she says, your father was a Dao. He was a genie, came from the elemental planes of earth, and one day he just vanished. I don't know what happened. Yeah, exactly. Islander colors, I would say, like a darker, more Samoan kind of a color. And she says, it was hard, it was difficult to move on, and I don't know why he ever left. I loved him with all my heart, and I felt that he loved me, but it just broke my heart. And then I met Jeffrey, and and that's it. And that could be your character's motivation. You grew up you grew up in this world of crafting, of creating these lights that travelers use far and wide to guide themselves in the night. Good old Jeffrey. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's like something that your DM would be willing to let you have, with your character, is that you have these glass lanterns that you carry that have the light spell imbued into them. That it's part of your craftsmanship, it's part of your background, that you're able to make this thing because that's what that's what your whole life has been about. It's been about crafting, and glass blowers is literally right here. It's option 9 on the Guild Artisan, so it totally makes sense. And now that you've had this revelation, you're like, I need to know who my dad is. I need to know who he is. I need to go out and find out what happened to him, if not for my own sake, but to release and alleviate the loss that my mother has felt, why this happened. And so, going out and finding, going to the volcano, having some kind of like temple within there or something like that, and finding something that belonged to him that showed his, who he was trying to overthrow, and letting that be your character's kind of driving motivation. You need to find out, who your father was. You need to somehow figure out how to get to the elemental plane of Earth, and from there, good night. And from there, you need to find him. seems like you don't need character. Well, and that's the thing, yeah, you know, sometimes you could just kind of, you know, go on a ramble and eventually things might work out. But that's the thing, it's like going to the elemental plane of Earth, it's, yeah, like any one of these locations, there's all kinds of information that you can look into. And I'm gonna post that in there just so that you can have that. I'm gonna either find Dad and save him, or finish. Yeah, have that be a thing. You know, have it be where, you know, there's somebody in there, and you are gonna, you know, you find out that this, oh, perfect. Dal are generally enslaving others. Maybe your father actually hated slavery. Maybe he wanted people to be free, and he was sent away because he spat upon that aspect of Dal culture, was sent away for that. And, you know, eventually this noble checks in on his little castaway, his little exile, sees that he's fallen in love, has a daughter, has started to grow as a, you know, has started to find goodness. And he's pissed about that. He wasn't supposed to be happy in this exile ship. He was supposed to be miserable, and I wanted him to suffer. So what does he do? He draws him back. He steals him, traps him into some small vessel, sets him on his mantelpiece. You will stay here until you learn your lesson. Something like that would work. And yeah, like I said, check out that link that I put about the elemental plane of Earth. Lots of information in there, stuff that you can play with. There's also the para-elemental plane of magma. So that is one of the things. It's the plane of existence between fire and earth. So, you know, maybe along the way your character could meet up with a fire genasi at some point. But yeah, I think with that you kind of have, you know, what it is. Now, as for the background, I would say, yeah, go guild artisan, if that's the route you want to go. But have them be somebody, have your cleric be somebody that always yearned for freedom, you know, has you know, through their life has done things that were against oppression and were against enslavement. Maybe their neighbor or something, like maybe their neighbor has pigs and they're in a pen, and they know that this neighbor, you know, whips the pigs and strikes them on a daily basis. And one day in the night, you take one of your glass orbs that's lit with light, and you go in and you unleash them so that they can run free upon the island, because you crave that freedom. Not gonna lie, didn't even see the notification. Yeah, dude, I gotta get myself Diablo. I've been thinking about it. I love how this was making a cleric for the first time. It turned into learning about Genasi parent heritage. Yeah, so definitely take some time looking into the elemental plane of Earth. It's worth a look in there. I would be tired of being on an island. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, maybe that's something that your character has yearned for. Would you have a god? I would say so. You could really do anything. Well, so I would say if you wanted to have it, if this campaign is going to be in, like the Faerunian, the Faerunian pantheon, Lathander is kind of like my go-to. Let's pull it up here in a second. Well, sir, you came to the right spot, because I've looked up the deities more often than I probably ever should. I think like 90% of the links, I I don't think. Oh, so it's not Faerun. Well, then that's fine. You could really name them whatever you wanted. But we'll look at the ones that are here in the light domain. So let's zoom in for a second. Okay, so a Monitor and Lathander. I'm gonna put this over here. So a Monitor and Lathander. God, I hate these advertisements on these pages. They take up half of the page. Okay, so a Monitor and Lathander are actually kind of the same god. They're both the god of the sun, and they're just aspects of one another. Like it says here, Lathander, the Faerunian god, was an aspect of the long dormant Amonitor. Amonitor was a Netherese deity. So they're basically the same thing, and they're just gods of the sun, of law and order and life. You could go with Helm. Helm actually just recently showed up. Okay, a Hawaiian god? Sure. Let's oh, yeah. I was about to say, it's fucking Maui. Maui, I want to say Maui was the, was one of the gods of the sun. Let's see. I looked up Polynesian, so let's look up, Hawaiian god of sun. So the Hawaiian god of sun is Cain. It's creator and gives life associated with dawn, the sun, and the sky. No human sacrifice or laborious ritual was needed for their worship. So, yeah, the chief god of the Hawaiian pantheon. He was a creator and the god of light. There are several titles beginning with the name Cain. I imagine it's probably pronounced Kane. He's called Tane in Tahiti, New Zealand, and southern Polynesia. Actually, that's what I was looking into. He lives on a floating cloud between heaven and earth, located at the west of the Hawaiian Islands off the coast of Kauai. Kanehunamoko, meaning the hidden land of Kane. So there you go. That could definitely work. You could do that again, depending on who the DM is. If it is a homebrew world and he's more than willing to let you, you know, have reins. What the? What is playing music? Sound? Oh, it's this. No, it's not. What is playing music, or what is playing sound? It's that page. I don't know what on here. Oh, it's not that. That was weird. But yeah, I would definitely say this would work. This information right here, and I will send this to you just so you can have that reference. Yeah, that would definitely be an option. Other than that, you have, you know, ones if your DM is like, no, you have to have one within, you know, this particular pantheon. That's, imagine not running ad blocker. I do have no, I don't have ad blocker. I used to have ad blocker. Funny enough, okay, so I've talked about using this site before, because it is what I prefer. But I use 5e.tools, which is kind of a, you know, an unscrupulous thing. But one of the things is that I actually don't use the real site. I use a GitHub mirror version of it. And that is because if I go to the normal 5e.tools, it gets a bunch of ads everywhere. It also doesn't look right. Oh, that's because I still have my dark filter on. So you have to, like, when you click to a page, you have to click past an ad. and then it like shifts everything around and it has all this stuff. The GitHub mirror does not have any of that. So this is always gonna be what I use. But yeah, like I said, that Hawaiian god, if you want to go with that, have it more of the Polynesian vibe, you know, the god Kane, or however you would pronounce that. How to pronounce Kane in Hawaiian? Oh yeah, Kani. Yeah, how do you pronounce? Oh, that's Kai. Kani. Okay, yeah. So that would work for you. The symbol of the light domain. But yeah, I think I think you got your character there, buddy. Now you just need to figure out a name. But I think because of that, you may have found a good route to go when trying to think of a name. Because you could look up like Hawaiian names for lava. That could actually be a thing. Pahoihoi. Huh. Pahoihoi and A'a. I mean, that could be a thing. Hawaiian names for Earth. Aka, Kamu. Oh, Akamu. Interesting. How to say Earth in Hawaiian? Hanua. That's not a bad name for an Earth Ganassi. You could also do... Bam! Oh, I'm sorry. If this was my character, that's the name right there. To me, that's the name right there. This like Alina. I don't know how you would pronounce that, but to me, that's the name. Alina. What's it mean? It means light. It's a Hawaiian name that means light, awakening, or precious. So that to me is like, I could see the mother naming her daughter that, because it has, you know, this is a child that has brought light into her world, that is precious to her, that is an awakening for her father, and letting that kind of play into, you know, her heritage. Oh, hey, this is D&D related. Opinion on what I DM'd for the feat. Oh, that's right. You did message me. So funny enough, sorry, I guess I should reference what I'm referring to. Jared, if you guys, if you have not watched yesterday's episode of Rime of the Frostmaiden, the players leveled up to level 18, or no, sorry, not 18. Jesus Christ, do not send that clip to Smith. He will freak out. Leveled up to level 8 and gains a feat. The feat in question that Jared is looking at is this one, Heavenly Light. You use your action to unleash the 18 now. You can use your action to unleash the divine energy within yourself, causing your skin to shine like the heavenly bodies in the night sky, illuminating the void and blinding your foes. This lasts for 1 minute until you end it as a bonus action. During it, you shed bright light for 30 feet, dim light for an additional 30. You deal extra radiant damage to one target when you deal damage to it with an attack or spell. It equals your level. In addition, the first time on a turn, a creature within 10 feet of you targets with an attack. It must succeed a con save or suffer disadvantage on attack rolls against you until the end of your turn, blinded by your starlight. An attacker can't be blinded, is immune to this, and this is once per long rest. So here's the thing. I don't think this is a bad idea. It would need to be reworked to like kind of be reflavored for what you're going with. And the reason for that is because when did I make that? 8/22/2021. So let's sort these by date. Oh god, so many pages. Let's change this up here. Page 10? No, probably 11. Oh, we're getting very close. So funny enough, it's this. Star-touched Azamar. They have an ability called Heavenly Light. So the reason why I actually made this was because one of my players in P5 back in the day, Nylor, he was a star cleric, and he was an Azamar of some kind. He might have been a Scourge Azamar, but we had worked it into his backstory that he was actually going to be a star-touched Azamar. That oh wait, where'd the music go? He was going to be a star-touched Azamar, and that was actually why I created that. Was specifically for him. Now here's the thing. I don't hate this idea of kind of changing this and music is weird. Kind of changing it and reflavoring it to be more towards Calyrex. Instead of it being that you cause your skin to shine like heavenly bodies in the night sky, it could be that as an action for 1 minute, your body is surrounded by or engulfed by green flame, because we've talked plenty of times in game about how the flames of Calyrex are where the your companions come in and out of. That when you use Hellish Rebuke, it's green flames to represent Calyrex's color. So we could have it be that your body is engulfed in these celestial flames, and that, you know, it lasts for a minute. It sheds the bright light and everything like that, and that you can deal extra. I would say radiant damage would work because it is coming from like a celestial thing and stuff like that. You know, or it could be fire. We could do it where you deal extra fire damage to one creature when you hit them with a spell or attack, and it equals your level. and you know, just kind of having everything kind of rolling forward here. And actually, we could reflavor this last part to be that they suffer disadvantage on you, or yeah, so in addition, the first time on a turn that a creature within 10 feet of you targets you with an attack, it must succeed a con save or suffer disadvantage on attack rolls against you until the end of its turn, and have that based in the fear aspect that your Rard is able to do. Because that is something that you have employed numerous times. You know, your Fey Presence ability of being able to charm and frighten somebody, we could have it be that instead of it blinding them, and instead of it being that a creature immune to blindness is immune to this feature, we could have it be that a creature who can't be charmed or frightened is immune to that. Now, that would also play into, you know, like elves who are resistant to some of that stuff, but, you know, that's kind of here or there, because there's a lot of creatures that can't be blinded as well, because they don't, you know, one reason or another. So I would be okay with that. I did read your message last night, and I did have kind of these thoughts about how this could work, because originally Heavenly Light was put in as a feat so that there could be like something within the core details explaining this. But I'm okay with that. Like I said, I will sit down and Hellfire Catalyst. So Hellfire Catalyst Hellfire Catalyst is again, as weird as this is, or no, not a half Azer dwarf, a paladin. Nope, it's a subclass. Whatever it is, oh shit, what the fuck is it? Oath of the Gatekeeper. It's this. Hellfire Catalyst is an ability that paladins of the Oath of the Gatekeeper, you gain proficiency in charisma intimidation checks. As an action, you cause your body to be called in Hellfire. Flames don't harm you or your possessions, and they shed bright light out to 20. Hold on. Who'd defart on Hev? Nope. Heavenly Light. That's 30 feet. That's 20 feet. Start your turn, you deal radiant damage equal to your charisma modifier to any creature grappling you. See, this is more appropriate of a feat. This also is very specific, because this is about you having creatures grappling you, or that you are grappling creatures, which is kind of what it was meant for. I'll have to work on this. I'm gonna come up with a combination of both of these. Yeah, as a warlock, you won't be out there grappling people too much. So I'm kind of leaning more towards this. Oh, what you got? You got a massive idea. Well, you know, make sure you keep it in your pants, buddy. But feel free to tell me about it. Stud. I'll DM you so you can continue. It'll be a paragraph. Yeah, feel free. I'll definitely look into it. All right, so after spending all of this time talking about Enforcer Hound's awesome new cleric, which I can't wait to hear stories about this. So you better share those stories over in the Discord there, Enforcer, because I want to hear about those and what happens with this character. So I'm invested. So yeah, I want to damn it, I got rid of the one page that I needed. So I want to talk a bit about what I was talking about earlier, which we kind of just built through with Enforcer, about developing a character backstory. But let's just say you don't have I'm dumping the backstory down before I forget. Yeah, do it. Well, this video will be on VOD, so you have that there. Oh, of course, man. Absolutely. This is the shit that I live for. Like, I don't often get time to play characters. So, and being a DM, I do get to make up interesting characters to like present to the party, but very rarely do I ever actually get to introduce somebody who's like an adventurer who's on their own journey, because I never want to present the party with a DM PC. So I always try and avoid that. But being able to help you develop your character, or helping anyone develop their character, that's what I love. Funny enough, I actually, one of the first ideas that I had for not my Twitch streams, but like would have been a Twitch stream, but mostly YouTube videos, was having a series called The Character Forge, where every week I would make a new character and like come up with some, backstory and everything. And we kind of did that for a couple streams, where we made the fire dancing monk twins, where we made Raina Ribbit, and Durin was already kind of made. Also uses characters in NPC. I 100% will. And I can tell you for certain that that this character will pop up in one of my campaigns at some point, and that is because one of my groups just recently got a boat, and they have to sail across the sea to resurrect a girl. And where are they taking this girl? To the Island of Restoration, the Temple of Restoration. And who might be there? Well, we'll have to see. Yeah, you know that group. All right, so yeah, we'll talk a little bit about something that somebody that I follow has put out today. As we're gonna jump in talking about it, I'm gonna repost in here his YouTube channel. He also has a Patreon as well as a Discord. His name is Ryan Doyle. His channel and everything. Hey, my dad made me that one time. He got mad at this dumb dragon. My dad made this island when he got angry at a dragon. So Ryan Doyle, he goes by on YouTube the Verdigris Table. He is a content creator who's been putting out videos about how to run games, how to be a better player and stuff like that. And what he has put out just this morning, those of us in his Discord got a link to this document. Okay, cool. I will see that in a second, Jared. So it's called the Game Master's Compendium of Explosive Creation. All right, buddy. Forcer, you have a good night. I appreciate all the wonderful story that we created. So can't wait to hear more. So here in this lovely document, I'm actually gonna pull it up to see it doubled, because it actually works a lot better if we do it this way. So what is this book about? Well, this book kind of solves the problem that some players have and some DMs may have, and that is how to one, create an evocative, inspiring, and enriched backstory for your character, and two, how to allow the DM to really take that story and run with it and fill it in to the campaign at large. I was actually just talking about this the other night. I was, before I go, if she's 6 foot, what would be her weight? We can, average Hawaiian, in Hawaiian, women fall around about 185 pounds, approximately. That is the Google, the answer on Google for average Hawaiian female weight. So 185. So you can run with that as much as you need, but I mean, hey, make it to whatever you want it. So this wonderful book that he is putting out, that Ryan is making, called the Game Master's Compendium of Explosive Creation, it is there to help players flesh out a character backstory, and is allowing the DM to build that backstory into the campaign at large, and giving them some driving force that they can play into. So this is how each one of the tables breaks down, because as you can see, it's a 2-page spread with one background on, going across the 2 pages. Now this is just the preview, and so right now we have Acolyte, Acrobat, Animal Whisperer, which I kind of love that, Archivist, Artist, and that's it. So this is very early on. He is going alphabetically, but I looked through, when I first read through this, I read through what was up in here, and I was like, okay, this is kind of like making sense to me, sitting down and, like it says here, imagine sitting down to play and realizing your GM has built a world filled with NPCs who have relationships with your character, and those NPCs have quests tailor-made. Now, this is something that I try to do as a DM for my games, and this was actually something that I brought up the other day. I jumped in on a call with Cinderblock Sally over on his channel when he was having a call-in night. And I was going to talk a little about how I wanted to bring up about what his opinion on creating entire campaigns based on players' backstories and the trials and tribulations that as a DM you face if, say, a PC dies and, now they have to make a new character, or they make a new character for a short period of time, and then the whole party goes on a path to resurrect that player. But there's also the stuff about what if a player drops out, and you have to bring somebody new into the campaign, or you just lose, that seat. How do you handle that stuff? And he made kind of the same point that I've had for a while, which is that you want to have your character's backstories mean something. If your character, if you as a player don't share your backstories with the rest of your party, if you don't explain why you are out doing the things that you're doing, or at least giving in some reasoning about why you are out doing the things that you're doing, then should your character fall in combat or you leave the party, the rest of the party doesn't actually have a reason to care to carry your, you know, your other character's point on. You know, and a lot of players, and I have some in my games, don't like to talk about their backstory, or they like to keep it secret because they feel that, you know, they feel they want to maintain some kind of air of mystery about who they are and what they're doing and stuff like that. And the problem that you face with that is that if you don't have a reason for the rest of your party to really care about your character should something happen, then that character just gets forgotten. They get pushed off to the side. And you know, you don't want that, especially if you've devoted time to playing this character and building them up. Some of that can be a difference between how long the characters knew each other versus how long playing in real life. Well, so that's the thing, but it's about taking those opportunities to get some of your backstory out, you know, explaining why you do those things. You know, even in one session, your character could sit down, you know, if let's say, for example, everybody's getting together, it's first session and party comes together. You're playing Dragon of the Icespire Peak and you're meeting in Phandalin and you're traveling along the way and you're all arriving in town. I want to make my characters, as in a character isn't comfortable. So again, that's the point though. That's what I'm saying is, if your character in game is not comfortable sharing their backstory, the only point that you can make there is if that character dies, you have to be okay with the rest of your party not caring that that character's story dies with them. Okay? Because you can't leave it up to the rest of the party to show care into your character if you're not willing to show that your character is, you know, gonna give up some of that information. So if my character is traveling to Phandalin and is meeting up with some group, or, you know, there's this, you know, we've all come to Phandalin, we're all there for the same reason of handling this dragon, or, you know, we've all met in a tavern because we all answered this one thing, my character might sit there and say, oh yeah, you know, I traveled 3 weeks to get here. I heard that they were dealing with some dragon problems, and you know, my family needs the money. We've kind of been in dire straits recently, and you know, I'm looking to do right by them. You know, I haven't revealed anything specific yet, but I have at least given the reason about why I'm there. I have said, okay, you know, what you know about me. I have a family, financial problems. I'm willing to travel 3 weeks to go on some jobs to send some money back to them. And as time goes on, you do build those relationships and you build those bonds as you play. You know, maybe at some point, my character would go to send money. He's sitting there at a desk writing a letter out. And he puts money into it, sends it away. Couple adventures later, come back to the tavern, and there's a letter there waiting for him that's been mailed. And he reads it, and he's, you know, his face goes gaunt. One of the other players notices this, and yeah, it's at that point, that other player who sees my character's face kind of go gaunt has to put themselves forward and say, hey, is everything all right? But in that moment, it is now up to me to say whether or not I care that the rest of the party knows what my character's backstory is. Okay, that whole idea of, well, my I could say, oh, it's nothing, don't worry about it, I'm, and you could argue like my character just isn't comfortable talking about this with them. But if something happens in the next session where my character dies, I can't sit there as the rest of the adventure goes on and nobody cared that the truth was, not only is my family in dire straits, but my sister or my wife or my daughter was sick, or my son or my brother or something like that was sick, and I wasn't sending money just back for financial reasons. I was sending money back for aid and care for them. Opening up those moments, letting your character develop in those moments. The onus is on you as a player to let your backstory known and to make it apparent so that the rest of the characters can actually give a shit about who your character is, other than, oh, this is just a bard. Like, yeah, he's the music player, he heals, like he tries to heal us, but his healing magic isn't the best, or maybe he's a paladin, or maybe he's training to be a cleric so that he can eventually learn those spells to go back and save his whoever, but he doesn't talk about that stuff. So this is actually why I do prefer when people don't just hide their backstories, or when they keep things secret from the rest of the party, because by doing that, you are putting yourself up to the point of, should something happen to your character, you have to be all right with nobody caring that they're gone, that they're just going to move on without your character. And that was kind of the point that he made, is if you want to do something like this and you want to have a campaign that your characters' backstories have built, that you have taken your players' backstories and said, okay, here's an adventure, and this is how it ties to each of you, and this is how you tie to this character, and you tie to this character. Your players have to have an investment in not only their story, which they should, because it's the character they're playing, they have to have an investment in the other players' stories. They have to have a care about who the other people are. Now, there are some players out there, I can name a few, I won't, where their whole... Try telling that to me. Well, and so that's the thing. The party... Do it, call me out, but no. So here's the thing. What's up, AZ Haven? Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. So the character of me is known to the party under a number of things. His backstory to the rest of the party would be, he was a pirate. He worked the pirating lanes from what's the city of Sails to the north? Oh shoot, why can't I think of it? I gotta pull up the Faerunian map. High resolution. Luskin. So we know in the Phandalin 5 game, we know that how's it going? I got out of its session, and let's just say I need a palate cleanser. Dude, feel that. I'm doing good. We're talking a little bit about some character backstories, and if you have a story and want to share it about your session, or if you do really need a palate cleanser and just kind of want to let that session fester for a bit, be my guest. Everything is as I forget who it was, but somebody came in here the other day and just said, is this like a word vomit place? But yes, it is. Talking is a free action, so you can spout off as much as you want. But what we know about me as a character is he worked the pirating lanes from Luskin, up here to the north, down to at least Waterdeep, which is where we've talked about, and is now set up. Oh shit, I don't have that that pulled up. There we go. We know that me has traveled the shipping lanes from Luskin all the way down to at least Waterdeep, and that he has connections in and around Lylon. Okay, because obviously he has some association with them there. But we also know from what he has said that he's had run-ins with the Black Dragon cult, because the Black Dragon cult, he has said, sank one of his ships somewhere near the Mire of Dead Men. And he has also done work with what's his name? I can't think of it. I'm lost. What's his name? What the fuck? I'm trying to pull it up here. Aubrey Silverspun, not Bax, Aubrey. That he knows Aubrey because Aubrey is an Aluskian. He is from Luskin and knows, he knows me because he has a dark past as a fence up in Luskin. So we know about his backstory. We know that me and you's ship was attacked by the Black Dragon cult. He has that tie there. Yes, Bax was somebody that me and you fought against, that attempted to arrest me on a few occasions, but they kind of traded blows here and there. But the thing there is that should me and you suddenly die, if they fall in session or something like that, the rest of the party is still aware that their driving goal was to get strong enough and to get to the point where they can fight back against the Black Dragon cult and get revenge for their pirate crew, and then to build a new pirate crew, because that's what you's whole thing is about. You made that flag for the pirate crew. When you guys found out about the ship, that was what me and you were focused on. When you guys found out about the ship that Tarbin was trapped in, it wasn't, oh, let's go save the bard. It was, there's a ship to be had, let's take it. So there is some stuff that can be played into there. Go see what AZ has to say. Give a quick description of what happened. So this is my first session ever, as I've naturally never played the game before. That's fucking awesome. I'm glad to hear that it was your first session. Just made characters. So you would think that in a session of new players, the DM would have more lenient terms. Oh no. Would be more lenient in terms of harsh mechanics and slightly generous with loot and experience. Well, no, our DM decided to force us into a cave with an undead lich drider, not let us leave the cave, tried to incite PvP, and didn't let us rest even when we managed. How the fuck did you guys kill an undead lich drider? For one, I guess saying undead lich is redundant, but a lich drider that... Now, when you say that he tried to incite PvP, I'm curious, are you saying that he used some kind of spell that forced one of the players to attack another player? Or was it something where he's like, hey, player one, player two's doing something that your character, shouldn't like, and you should go and fucking murder him? Either way, whoever this DM is, that's a... Jesus Christ. No, there was the big bad there, and we had to... Okay. I need to ask, because I didn't see it in the beginning. What level are you guys? This is the first session you've ever actually played, and you just made characters. Level 1 to 5? What does that mean? What level is your character that you made? Or is this a scenario where you guys have mixed level nothing above 5? What determined what level you guys were? Did you guys roll like a D6 or something like that? And then that determined your level? Who would start a... Or wait, is this an ongoing adventure that you jumped into? Or was this like the first session? Was this like the first session for everyone? I'm so curious. I'm just waiting with bated breath. Is your DM's last name Morningstar? Because he sounds like Satan. Yeah, holy rolled for everything including stats and wouldn't let us re-roll stats. I joined in on a session. I was level 3. Everyone else was level 5, and in total it was the second session. Oh, why? It was the second session of a campaign. You have a party of level 5s, and you're joining at level 3, and you guys fought a horde of zombies and a lich drider. Oh, 3.5. Oh, dude. No, sir. No, sir. Okay. Well, sorry. You decided, you know what? I don't hold this on you. AZ, we love you here. Okay. Here in the corner, this is a fun place. Safe to say I'm not gonna play with it. That sounds like a grand idea. 3.5 is harsh. 3.5 is a crunchy ass system that has a lot of rules, a lot of game mechanics, and there's a reason why we are on the 5th edition of D&D nowadays, and even why Pathfinder, which Pathfinder was essentially 3.5 but better, now has a 2nd edition, which is more like 5e. But the way he incited PvP was to pretty much make everything our characters do or say aggressive. So we tried to wrangle control. Yeah, dude, that sucks. I'm sorry that was your experience. I wish, I hope that your next experience is a lot better than that, because man, that is rough. That is rough. This is a game that's meant to be fun, not a game that's meant to be punishing and brutal. I mean, it can be punishing and brutal, but it has to be fun along the way. Remember how lucky I am having me as a D. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not. Lucas bullies me. Fuck you, Jared. You bully me with your goddamn animal hand. Okay. You know what? No. I bully you because your fucking dice bully the shit out of me. All right? I introduce I introduce some goddamn face huggers in a Rime of the Frost, in the Rime of the Frost Maiden game, with some giant alien bug carrion crawlers, and you fucking charm the one, and then roll a goddamn 29 on an animal handling check, which you get to do with monstrosities because of your background. And it's the only time you have good rolls. Is the times when you're like, oh, this face hugger. But the funny thing is I fucking love it, because it's so you playing into your character, and it's exactly what you would do. And I would hate you if you didn't play it that way. But oh. You want your polar bear? Yeah. Not completely turned off by D. That's good. I'm really glad. Yeah. I hope that you're able to find another DM or another group, or even like a one shot that you're able to jump into that's a better experience. Because yeah, that's what he did. What he did was ridiculous. And he damaged our character. That's bullshit. Okay, yeah. No, it sounds like, okay, here's what I think happened. Okay, obviously I don't know every detail of what happened, but here's what I think went through his mind. I think this is somebody who plays 3.5, who sticks to 3.5 because they like the crunchiness of the system, they like some of the unforgiving mechanics of it, and he gets a new group of players that want to run, and he tells them, hey, I'm gonna run D&D for you guys, and he is like, you know, he probably was like, okay, I want to show them that, like, you know, I'm so cool. I'm going to put them against these big things, because back in 3.5, it very, like, old editions of D&D was very much DM versus player. Literally Tomb of Horrors was designed to just kill high-level characters. So he probably has that in mind, whereas nowadays with stuff like 5th edition and, you know, Pathfinder 2 and stuff like that, it's more about the DM is curating a story and an adventure that the players face trials and tribulations on, but is all together working with the players to develop this awesome story that evolves over time. Also rolled 3 dice for every single roll to create randomness by making us choose one of 3 dice. What? Did you have a choice in which dice to choose from, or did he pick that? Because that to me sounds like he gave you double advantage on everything, because you would just, I mean, arguably you would just take the highest one, because it's still a d20 roll high system. Because it wasn't a roll, I mean 3.5 was still d20 roll high. Me as my personal character to make you hate DMing. No amount of knowledge or skill can protect you from his. Yeah. Halfway through the session, I said fuck it and tried out spells regardless of outcome. Like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna die next turn. I summon the Blade of Pain and Fear. No, we didn't even know the results of any. God damn, dude, this DM sucks. I don't know who it is, but like whoever they are, they suck. I'm sorry that was your experience. I often do say D&D is collaborative storytelling. It's a story told between the players and the DM, where the players are telling their side of the story and the DM is telling the story of the world. And it's not the DM versus the players. It is the player characters versus the trials that they face. Because if it was just the players writing the story, there would never be a challenge. there would never be somebody to say, oh, there's a big rock in your way, and there's a tree now, and there's a goblin horde. It would just be, oh, cool, like I go out, I find the thing that I'm looking for, and I go and I do the thing that I wanted to do. You have to have that, you know. It's every, yeah, kind of like that. It's everyone versus the dice. Sure, I felt like he was trying to kill. He was 100% trying to kill you guys, because he was trying to prove something to himself, that he still, you know, that's how old D&D worked, is that it was the DM versus the players, and that's how he wanted to play it. He rolled for stats instead of giving us medium advanced health. Dude, that is rough. Oof. Well, I can say that, you know, from what you said, not much else is going to beat that in regards of bad sessions. So hopefully that gets resolved for you in the future. And maybe one day, if you want, you know, feel free to join the Discord, because there are folks over there that play D&D and Pathfinder. All right, Jared. What the fuck? You're going down to Oakmont Bakery? Good job. Should grab me something. Grab me a like a cherry cruller. Like, cool. I rolled a nat 20 and my wisdom as a cleric didn't help me much when I don't know the difference between my catalyst and my asshole. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, AZ. Like I said, I wish you the best when it comes to your next game. Hopefully whoever you find to jump into their game, they're playing 5th edition. It's a better system overall, and it's a better system overall when it comes to actually role playing, and things aren't nearly as punishing. It is far harder to actually be killed in 5e, which is actually kind of why, like, a lot of older DMs don't like it, is because they liked that whole, you know, oh, I'm gonna straight up murder your character kind of a thing. Just spammed undead. It's very adamant on Chris being Chris. Oh, crit. What the fuck? No. I mean, I might just not know about D&D 3.5 zombie. Let me see. Let me look up their stat block here. There is nothing in the SRD that says, wait, hold the fuck on. Medium-sized zombie in 3.5, undead, immune to mind-influencing effects, poison, sleep, paralysis, stunning, and disease, not subject to critical hits. Subdual damage, ability damage, energy drain. So wait, they're not subject to critical hits, subdual damage, ability damage, energy drain, or death from massive damage. You literally just have to, like, thwack them down. No, that was 3rd edition. Creating a zombie. I don't want to create a zombie. I want to see the stat block for a zombie. Damage reduction? No. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in here about zombies having, and yeah, like, all they have is like toughness, which bumps their HP by 3. There's nothing in here. I mean, granted, he did throw a Lich Drider at you, which they were probably bolstered from that, so he's just being a prick. Also, our wolves were directly compared to their AC instead of... Directly compared to their AC instead of 20 equals good, 1 equals bad. So even when we convinced him to let us call our hits to the head to count as a crit, he removed our modifier bonus and made it to where our roll has to be higher than their AC. Oh. Well, also our rolls were compared to their AC in well, that's how it should. So he's like playing two different ways. That's bullshit. The way that it's supposed to work is also doesn't know how probabilities work. Yeah. I don't understand the whole 3 dice thing. That doesn't actually really make a lot of sense to me, because the thing is that when you have something like a zombie in 5e, at least in 5e, okay, a zombie has an AC of 8. They have an 8 armor class. Now, the way that this works, a level 1 zombie shouldn't have 14. No, it should not have 24. Should not have 24 AC. Even if I had a bolstered zombie, even if I had one that was a little slightly stronger, this might be bumped up to a 14 if it was like magically enchanted. But even that, like, you're still going to be rolling, you know, say like a D20 +4 or something like that, and you know, oh, I rolled a 22. That's well over their AC. That means that I hit. You know, I deal damage. You know, I'm wielding a longsword, so let's, you know, oh sweet, I only took 5 damage, but I still knocked him down a bit. Now, I know that in 5e, zombies have it where if they're reduced to 0 hit points, it makes a con save equal to 5 plus the damage taken, and if it succeeds this, it only drops to 1, but if it took radiant or a critical hit, then it's killed. I know what you're saying. We weren't able to make it go from 1 HP to 0 without it being a crit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Oh God. Yeah, I'm sorry you had to deal with that, man. That DM sounds like a douchebag. that's kind of like the bottom of it, is that DM just sounds like a douchebag that was just trying to prove something to himself that he could kill players. I mean, I could too if I wanted to prove to my players that I could kill them. Cool. Let's get a red dragon. Cool. Ancient red dragon. There it goes. All right, cool. 22 AC. Yeah, these things have a lower AC than the ones that you had to face off against. Almost 550 hit points. My attacks are plus 17. You know, I'm gonna do my breath weapon, which does on average 91 points of damage in a 90-foot cone. And you better be a monk or a rogue to avoid this damage. Yeah, I'm sorry that you had to deal with that, man. That sucks. Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, it is. Funny enough, I actually, an old DM of mine did kind of do that to me and my group once. So what he did was he got to a point in our campaign where he's kind of split the party in a way. We all made 2 characters at this point. Like, we had our character that we'd been playing, and we were allowed to make another one that it was gonna be like splitting up the campaign in two separate directions. And the one half, the one group sailed across the sea, got attacked by a leviathan. Leviathan. Yeah, we got attacked by one of these guys, which are ridiculously strong and terrifying. And it pretty much wiped out half of our party. And then on top of that, when we got to the island, we were facing off against like an army of dragonborn warriors, 3 or 4 young blue dragons, and an amethyst dragon. And two characters only survived because the one character had greater invisibility and was able to cast it on themselves and one other player, and then they escaped. Like, they ran onto the island and escaped. The rest of us died there, and it sucked. And we realized after the fact that based on like challenge rating and everything, we would have needed to have like 13 or 14 20th level characters with us to manage that. What's the entire fucking point of making character? Well, like Stacy says, that does actually bring us back to two characters' backstories. So I'm glad you brought that up, AZ, because character backstory should matter. And I hope that the next game you play in, you have a DM like Ryan Doyle. No, that was a snide. Oh, that was the second part of another comment. Oh, he pays no mind to the characters' backstories. Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. It is on the DM to you know, make that a thing, to, you know, actually give a shit about their characters' backstories. Which is why what you should do is you should check out this document from Ryan Doyle over on Patreon. This document is available through his Discord. And it's about tying in characters' backstories into the campaign at large. Like, I have 7 different characters with intertwining backstories in a vast interconnected world. Dude, same. I could bring up an entire plot graph that I had at one time about how all of my characters were connected. Yeah. I know that. I don't even know what that website was called. I used to have this thing that was like it was like line plots or something like that. Shoot, what was that? What was that one website? Oh, I'll have to find it. Later. But yeah, no, your characters' backstories should matter. You know, it is unfortunate whenever a DM ignores that. But like I said, check out this Patreon for Ryan Doyle, and you know, grab a copy of this introduction to the Game Master's Compendium of Explosive Creation, because, you know, if your next DM is open to it, this definitely helps out. All my characters from the same world in various ways. He used to be a god, was made human, and the proof of existence erased. One of my characters had him as a god. Sick. That's sick. I gotta think of what that website was called. Oh. can't think of what it was called. Yeah, dude. Yeah, be my guest. Go ahead and chat. While I try and find this website. No, it wasn't that. It was. Nope, not that. I know I had an app of it. I wonder if I can find. Oh, sheet. I wonder if I can find the old app. That might be a thing I can pull up. It was really cool. It was a really cool website that allowed me to kind of plot it all out at one time. But it was a while ago, and I kind of forget it. Panels? No. Nope, not canvas light. Nope. Nope, not. Oh, wait, was that it? Nope. I'm gonna find this. I'm gonna find this if it kills me. Oh, not Easy Mirror. Nope, none of those. Hey, there's the first time I downloaded the D&D Beyond app. Lucid Chart. That's it. That is it. Lucid Chart. He's the son of Hristin's son. Okay. Do I not have it on there anymore? Nope, apparently I don't. I used to. Don't know where it is anymore. Sent a DM. Oh, you had it. Holy shit, you did have it. Wow. Okay. Oh, thank you, Stacy. Wait, let's do this. Alright, let me read yours first before I throw mine up. Hristin's son was the son of Hrist, god of humanity. Hristin's son was the god of the innocent. Hrist in her. Hriston, her rage against other races, and in an effort to protect and preserve humanity, sought to wipe out all races from existence. Her son fought to protect the innocent of all and failed, striking him down to the mortal realm. Made human and losing his memories in the process, Hrist, after realizing what she had done to her son, sacrificed the life of her life to grant him a slight connection to his past godly powers, in the process wiping the proof of their existence. The other character, Michael Kak, prayed to Hriston as a god. Yeah, see, I love that. I love whenever you can design characters that have some backstories. This is what I was looking for, and I do appreciate Stacy for giving me sending me that, because I had sent this to her a while back. So this is the plot for the characters that I have made in the past. So each one of these, except for the old druid, is a character that I made at one time. So it starts out with Pazuzu, who Pazuzu was a gnome inventor. He was an artificer who was the creator of a warforged known as Bastion. Pazuzu was captured by Drow and forced to create a warforged for them that could infiltrate High Elf society. But he was told that once he would create this warforged, he would be released. Unfortunately, he was not. He was killed. Bastion found this out at one point, and basically turned against the Drow and hated them, and sought to be their undoing. So he went on to become a rogue, and then eventually became a thank you for the follow. He eventually became a rogue, working against the Drow, and then eventually became a redemption paladin in his life. He eventually sacrificed himself because he had a bomb implanted in his chest, unbeknownst to him. Pazuzu's grandson, Uruzu, is a gnomish scholar who taught arcano-mechanical creation at the Crystalfell College, the College of Crystalfell. Now, he was the teacher of 3 different people. So Cooper is another warforged. He awoke one day in an old gnomish fortress, did not know anything about the world, did not know who he was, where he was, or anything like that. He kind of wandered through the forest until one day suddenly showed up in this town, in this city known as Crystalfell. Now, the people there knew that Uruzu, who was a teacher and worked at the college, made these different inventions. So they kind of took Cooper over there, this random warforged, and was like, "Hey, Uruzu, stop letting your inventions run around." And Uruzu was like, "This is not my creation." It was like questioning who this was. Cooper used to be a coin operated animatronic robot that played the lute, and he had this affinity for music, but the nameplate on his back that said Cooper used to say coin operated, but it had been worn down in time to where it just said Cooper. So Cooper learned about magical music from Uruzu, eventually became a bard, and went traveling, because unfortunately Warforged are kind of looked down upon because they were created for the war, and he wanted to show the people of the world that Warforged were not these war terrifying creatures. They could be a force of good. Now, the other 2 people that Uruzu influenced was Rembrandt. Now, Rembrandt is an awakened cat, and Rembrandt's short backstory is that he belonged to this rich old woman who lived out in the hills, and she had a butler.
And her butler very much loved this cat, and the cat loved the butler. The cat never really cared for the old woman, and one day when the butler passed away, the cat ran away from home, not feeling any connection to the old woman. So he goes out, he just kind of wanders into the forest, and is eventually found by this old druid. Now, this druid gives him a collar that awakens him and gives him knowledge and insight, and also the ability to understand. So now with this knowledge, now with this awakenedness, Rembrandt travels and finds himself eventually in Crystal Fell as well. And as a cat likes to do, they just wander about, and they find places to rest and sleep. And Rembrandt eventually started to rest on one windowsill where Aruzu, the professor, Professor Aruzu Cogsworth, was giving his lessons. Rembrandt would steal pieces of paper here and there, stole some pens or some ink and whatnot, and eventually created his own spell book so that he could start casting his own spells. He eventually learned how to cast Find Familiar and created a homunculus familiar reminiscent of the old butler. He then learned illusory magic to make it seem as if the butler was speaking in lieu of him, so he could travel the world with this familiar that was reminiscent of his old friend. Now, that old druid had a connection to another character whose name was General Rembrandt. It was I'm missing his first name. Why am I forgetting his first name? Shoot, I'm missing his first name. I gotta look it up. I'm gonna kick myself since I don't know it. Winston Mills. Sorry, yeah, there it is. The Honorable Sir Winston Mills IV, also known as General Mills. He was an old paladin that worshipped the god Kelemvor and despised the undead. But one day, defending a Nomish village, which happened to be the same village that Pazuzu and Aruzu originally came from, he was killed, and a curse was placed upon his body to rise him as an undead, the very thing that he despised the most. So sometime later, when he arose as an undead, he tried to basically kill himself, and people tried killing him, but he never died. He was cursed to wander the world as an undead forever. Kind of like Rembrandt, eventually just found his way into a forest where he met this druid. The druid ushered him into her hut and gave him a vision of the god Kelemvor, offering him a chance to be granted reprisal and to seek down the necromancer that cursed him and end his life, and only then would his soul come to rest. So Rembrandt and Mills were both guided by the old druid. Now, the other character that Aruzu had influence on was a young fire genasi named Cinderast. Now, Aruzu's colleague, so Aruzu, working at the college, he had a colleague named Aminon. Now, Aminon was a tiefling who happened to be studying around a volcano at one point. Now, Aminon found Cinderast as a babe, and brought him back and kind of raised him on his own. And he showed interest. He had this spark of knowledge, of discovery in him, and wanted to learn. So he actually he actually had him there at the College of Crystalfell, where Ruzu was able to teach him and train him and offer him guidance in life. So he was his teacher. Cinderace would go on to become an evoker wizard and searching out his own ties to the world. Now, Amanon also guided at one time an Azamar named Azazel. Now, Azazel is a character that I played for a bit and has a 30-page backstory. But Azazel's an Azamar, and his family didn't know what this meant until just the day that it happened. So they went to this town where they met Amanon. And Amanon was able to explain to Azazel a bit about being plane touched, as he himself was a tiefling and had been touched by the planes of the fiends. Now, Amanon was also the grandfather and guide of another tiefling named Red. Now, Red was raised by a cult that believed him to be their prophet. So that was... He grew up in the streets of a town called Cragsden, and from that life, he found this cult that was worshiping him and everybody. And Amanon's daughter at one time had a falling in with a devilish cult, and Red was kind of the byproduct of that. And then, lastly, down at the bottom, Azazel has a nephew named Bryn, and Bryn had a partner named Pinky. So Bryn was a human, and so Azazel eventually left home and in search of his brother, who had been taken by a shadow. And his parents eventually had another child. They had a daughter, and she gave birth to Bryn. Bryn became this investigation master. He was a detective. And one day, while Bryn was out looking for these jewels that had been going missing in this one city, he saw that there was a group of Kenku that was huddling around this one area, and saw that one of them was extremely small. He watched them for a few days and realized that the smallest one was being used to go in and steal stuff. He eventually caught him and was going to take him in to be written up and thrown in jail or whatever. But Pinky, who he had named Pinky because, the smallest finger, he eventually was, hey, what's up, Mizroy? Thanks for the raid. So Pinky actually ended up joining him because Bryn was a bigger guy, and Pinky was a very small, diminutive person, but had very high skills and stuff. Oh man, we got the Miz raid going on. It's good to see you guys tonight. Just talking about some character backstories getting tied into. So I haven't played every single one of these characters, unfortunately. I wish I did. So I did play Bastion. So okay. I played Azazel from the start of a campaign to about level 6 or 7, at which point in his story it made sense for him to leave the group and go and rejoin his church, because he lost his light and he needed to go find himself. I then played as Bastion. So Bastion was the Warforged rogue, and I played him. I then played in a separate I played in a one-shot Pazuzu. So I got to play as Pazuzu. And then I played from levels 1 to 20. I played Cooper. So Cooper has a very special place in my heart. I have a figure of him. I have his picture on my room's door, so that every time I leave, I get to look at his beautiful teal and pink aesthetic. So I also played in a one-shot Cinderast, where we played as 4 different Ganassi. I also played in a 3-session adventure. I got to play as Pinky. So yeah, so you're saying there are more enemies than an undead spider with magic. Yeah. Oh yeah, that sucks. Who else is up above my stream? Oh, the first one is the DM. That's me with my wizard hat. The second one over there, that's Azazel. The one in white with the mask on, that's Azazel. Cooper's at the very end, so he gets the whole way down there. And then the character next to Cooper, that's Kelf. That's my very first character, Kelf the Axe Wielder, who was a half-orc barbarian who got his arm bitten off by a dragon, and then the cleric cast Stone Shape on his arm and a boulder, and shaped and rolled a nat 20 medicine check, and fused his arm into the boulder, and then shaped the boulder to be an axe head. So he went from being Kelf the Axe Wielder to Kelf the Axe Hand. Yeah, that's Kelf. He's not associated with any of these. Not a single one. Yeah. Not to mention, had to spot the strands. Oh yeah, so stealth was just out of the question. Yeah, that sounds about right. So yeah, gonna go over this real quick, because it's about 12:30. I was actually gonna end around 12, but I'm probably gonna push it till about 1. Then I gotta head off. Gotta go over and spend the night at my brother's house, because he is out of town with his family, so I'm gonna go over there. Lich Drider was surrounded by 30 zombies. Yeah, dude, that TM sucks. And I wish, I will say, I wish that there will be a time that you could play with us. So if you want, no, stream's not ending yet. Stream will be at about another half hour. But if you do want to play with us in the future, feel free to join the Discord right above. I do have plans eventually about running some one-shots over there. I have some things planned out, so feel free to jump in over there. Keep an eye out for that. Also, if there's anybody over there that is wanting to run a game, then you will be able to know. So definitely, and there's also people playing Pathfinder as well. There are other DMs, yes. So I am not the only. There are some D&D DMs over there. There are some Pathfinder DMs over there. I know I keep mentioning one-shots. Oh, I know. In time, one day it'll happen. One day. Glorious day in the future. Okay, so back to what we have on the screen. So like I said, this was brought to us by Ryan Doyle over at the Verdigris table. If you eventually do look into this, make sure that you go over to his Discord and thank him. The links will be in the stream, or he is over in our Discord. He's over in the Kel's Corner Discord, so you can thank him over there as well, because I am going to post this over there. But the way that this book that he is putting out breaks down is to allow players to flesh out a character's backstory, and to allow a DM to really dig in, take that backstory, and tie it into the campaign at large. And how he does this is by setting up some various tables for each background. So depending on what your background is, kind of determines what you're going to be looking at. So you have drives, dreams, and aspirations. This is the stuff that's motivating your character. This is the stuff that is driving them and is the most important things that they are looking at. The catalysts, calls to action, and lore drops, these are going to be things that happened in your character's backstory, or is something that is guiding them, things that are, you know, driving them forward to achieve these dreams and aspirations. Transformation, growth, and character arcs. This is about stuff that is what your character wants to work on over time, how they want to evolve, and how they want to see themselves change in time, giving yourself a direction to go in order to see your character become something new, because that's what you want with your character. You don't want your character to start out as one thing and end up the same thing. You want them to grow and evolve. The friendly factions is exactly what it sounds like. These are going to be people you have officially squatted. Oh, welcome. The friendly factions is exactly what it sounds like. These are people that you have an association with towards. They can aid you and guide you in your adventures, giving you quests, giving you NPC connections, and having plot hooks that can come from that. Assets and allies, this is going to be stuff that gives you an immediate relationship, an immediate connection to the world and your backstory to start with. This is somebody that you might know. This is something that might allow you to channel your story in a certain direction because of that connection. And lastly, for more of the player specific aspects, magic items and meaningful objects, these are going to be a player specific MacGuffin, an item that is, tied to them, something that they have some kind of connection over, or even something that maybe they don't have that they are trying to achieve, that they're trying to get, that has a draw to them. Like it says, is that carrot on a stick that is, always out of reach. How often do people start campaigns in the server? Unfortunately, I don't think anybody's ever started a campaign in the server. I currently run 3 campaigns. 2 of them I stream on here on Twitch, and one of them I run at a public library. So, but feel free to talk to some of the folks over there, and you may be able to get some people together. There's people over there that will play if given the opportunity. So you might be able to get something together if you get enough buy-in on it. And if it's on a day that I'm available, I can run something. That is a thing that I'm willing to do. So on the right-hand page of these breakdowns, can I roll to beg? Yeah. I mean, hey, like I said, you are more than welcome to post in there. There's a few people in there that you might be able to get. So I can also recommend checking out any other D&D server. There's always people out there looking for players. The D&D server itself, that's a huge one. Like the Dungeons & Dragons server, there's one for almost like every D&D YouTuber, like Nerd Immersion, XP to level 3, Steely Sam, Cinderblock Sally, his server is there. There's the Discord of Many Things, there's Morvold Press. Not sure I have time to run a whole campaign as I'm already on 3. Yeah, one shots can definitely work. So one shot quests and Monkey DM. Yeah. I got Monkey's Discord over here as well. There's actually some people in there right now chatting and hanging out. One guy's making a map. What I'll do, AZ, is after the stream, I will send you a message with a number of invites to servers of places that have like looking for groups. So this way you can possibly get in touch. Like I said, there are definitely people within Kel's Corner that would. I can't guarantee that it would be something ongoing or anything like that, but hey, I'm not necessarily the one to provide the service, but I'm a facilitator, my friend. I will get you to where you need to be so that you can flourish. That is what I am. I'm a facilitator. But yeah, so I'll definitely be in touch after the stream. So the right hand side of these pages, so you want to know the worst part about the session? Yeah, type it up. So the right hand side of these pages, this is definitely more of the DM side of things. So antagonistic organizations, rivals and enemies, evocative locations, thematic monsters, and plot hooks, story seeds, and adventures. These are things that a DM can roll on once they have their character's backstory and they have their background, and kind of seed in stuff that they can play with. So, but I definitely think while both sides of this are a good DM tool, this left-hand side is really good for a player to sit down and develop a character. And to kind of prove that point, I actually did that. So we're going to look at that here. Go ahead and pull this up. I summoned the Blade of Pain and Fear, and he ended the second session of the second I was about to use it on someone. Yeah, dude, that DM sounds like a douchebag. I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. That's a rough one. Oh. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what the Blade of Pain and Fear is. I'm curious. Actually, is that like the Shadow Blade? Blade of Pain and Fear. A 3-foot-long column of disembodied gnashing teeth springs forth from your hand, screaming and chanting with unholy vigor. You make melee touch attacks with this Blade of Pain and Fear. It deals 1d6 point of damage plus 1 point per 2 caster levels. Your strength modifier does not apply to this damage. A creature that you successfully deal damage to must also make a saving throw or become frightened. Whew. Yeah, that's definitely something. You are an Azamar Cleric level 3. Yeah, that's a hell of a sword. I'm trying to think of what this would be in like 5th edition. What you could attach to this. So this is whatever. It deals, so it's a melee spell attack. It deals 1d6 plus 1 per 2 caster levels. So I'm gonna say that this would it's definitely not a cantrip. I see this as more of a first level spell that's dealing 1d6 plus, I would probably say it's a second level spell. I would honestly make this I would make this be like the Blade of Shadows. Or yeah, not Blade of Shadows, the Shadow Blade. Which I think is, yeah, this is a second level spell. The sword lasts until the spell ends, so it lasts for a minute. It's a simple melee weapon, deals 2d8 psychic damage. You have advantage when you're attacking in dim light or darkness, and you can use a bonus action to resummon it to your hand. I would honestly make this a first level spell that deals 1d6, probably just 1d6, because the fact that you're getting that the hit deals, yeah, I mean, 1d6 is fairly low, but I mean, Shadow Blade is badass because it's finesse, light, and has the throne property, which means you can swing with strength or dexterity because it's finesse. It's light, which means you can actually dual wield another weapon. No, I understand. No, 100%. I get you. Believe me. I know. But no, one of the cool things about Shadow Blade is that while its damage is actually fairly low, regarding other second level spells, you can use your dexterity or strength to attack with it, so you get a little bit of versatility. It's light, which means you could actually wield another weapon in your other hand. So you could wield this in one hand and like a rapier or a dagger or a short sword in your other hand. You can throw it, so you get a ranged attack with it. While you're in dim light or darkness, you have advantage on the rolls, which I don't think you would have experienced advantage or disadvantage in 3.5. So that means that you can roll twice and take the highest roll. So it kind of incentivizes you to like find pockets of darkness to attack from. But if you cast it with higher level spell slots, the damage actually increases. If we were to convert the Blade of Pain and Fear, I would probably still only have it, I would have it be a first level spell. I would have it deal 1d6 and have that go up maybe every 2 levels kind of after. So like if you upcast it with a 3rd level spell slot, it deals 2d6, or maybe give it that it gets a bonus equal to your spellcasting modifier, possibly. But it's getting that saving throw to be frightened. And if you can hit a creature and frighten them, they can't attack you, they can't look at you, they can't attack you without disadvantage. They also can't really do anything other than just like run away from you. And so they're kind of either locked there with you, not really being able to do anything, and even if they are trying to do anything to hit you, they're having to roll twice and take the lowest. I'd have to think about this, but I actually might turn this into a 5e spell one of these days. So yeah, keep an eye out that. I'll do that on stream if I do that, because that sounds sick. This sounds like a really cool spell, so I want to see that be a thing. Oh, and it's kind of the same thing. It lasts for 1 level. So, I mean, it lasts for 1 minute. So, okay, yeah. I'd be interested to convert that or see if anybody else did. So yeah. Like, imagine just having a sword made of teeth. It does sound really sick. The whole imagery is pretty badass. Like, this is awesome. This is some awesome imagery. I like that. So yeah. Getting back to Ryan's document here. The sword does sound like a mimic. That is true. So getting back to the Game Master's Compendium of Explosive Creation, I actually went through and to kind of see how this document could work, and developed a character based on it. Now I'm actually going to put up in here what the answers to, or what I rolled. So we're going to come down here. So I rolled for each one of these. Now the cool thing is, if you actually had your players first session 0 coming to the table and sitting down, you actually get the really fun part of everybody gets to roll their dice once each, because you roll a 20, a 12, a 10, an 8, a 6, and a 4. So you're rolling every single one of your dice, and then you get to see and kind of build out your character's backstory. So the ones that I got for drives, dreams, and aspirations, I rolled I rolled a 12, and I got that they want to shape the direction. What's up, Dr. Fun Nut? We've been having a lot of fun tonight. We've been talking about a really unfortunate session that AZ had. We talked about some cool spells, a sword mimic, and have been getting to talking about this awesome book that Ryan Doyle over at Verdigris Tables is putting together, called the Game Master's Compendium of Explosive Creation, a system of tables that can be used to develop characters' backstories based on their actual backgrounds. So really excited. I was really excited about this. He posted this morning over on his Discord. I checked it out, read through it, and it's phenomenal how it can be used by not only the player, or not only the DM, but the player to really develop a character backstory. So that's what I did. I went through and I gave a dwarf cleric. Oh, that was the other thing we did. We helped Enforcer Hound build a dwarf, an Earth Ganassi cleric, a light cleric. So we had a lot of fun with that. So I actually went through and built the backstory for a dwarf forge cleric named Malgo, that I played not too long ago in a one-shot. And I didn't really give him much of a backstory, and I saw this as an opportunity to do so because I gave him the acolyte background, and I wanted to see what this would give me. So I rolled on this table this morning, and under my drives, dreams, and aspirations, I got shaping the direction of their faith. Under catalyst, calls to adventures, and lore drops, I got the ancient texts that hold suppressed knowledge. My character's transformation and growth and character arcs that's going to extend through the campaign is related to their doubt of belief, or the doubting of their beliefs. Their friendly faction is the Wayfarer's Star, a merchant's guild promoting and profiting from a pilgrimage path. My asset and ally is Atticus the Elder, a bespectacled scribe with encyclopedic knowledge of the Moradinic history. That is the one thing that I did have about Malgo, is that he worships Moradin, the Lord of the Forge. And the magic item or meaningful object, which is the holier symbol, it improves potency of any magic under the deity's divine domain. Kind of want to learn how to be a DM? There's an entire channel. There's an entire YouTube channel called How to Be a Great DM. And it's one of the channels that I watched plenty of time. That's cool. Went to panic mode when I couldn't figure out exactly how to word a city's backstory, so I resorted to ChatGPT. Dude, 100%. I use ChatGPT to edit my shit all the time. When I'm making like a subclass, or I, am writing something, I will write out all the details that I want of it. And I know how I want it set up. I know what aspects of it I want, and I will word it to my best of abilities. But if things aren't sounding right, I will go to ChatGPT and say hey, reword this to be more in line with official D&D content, because it knows it. I have used it. I've used it in a number of my homebrew creations. So I am all for using ChatGPT to, as a grammar editor is what I keep calling it. It's my GPT does not stand for whatever it normally does. It's a grammar protection tool to make me sound like I know what I'm doing. Which we'll actually get into, because I used it to I used it to type out some of the stuff that I need. When the moon hits your knees and you mispronounce trees sycamore. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. So we got my character backstory now. So when I first got these couple items, I was, already starting to think of a couple things. Shaping the direction of their faith and having a doubt to belief. That to me led to an immediate connection. You know, this character is having a moment of crisis of faith. They don't know exactly what to believe. They are struggling with how, you know, what they want to do, but how does that play into it? The ancient texts that hold suppressed knowledge and Atticus, the elder, they immediately had a connection in my head. And I eventually went the route of Atticus being somebody that Malgo confided in and was told about these ancient texts. Now, Malgo works for the Wayfarer Star, but as I started to roll these other pages and got an antagonistic organization known as the Salted Earth, who is clandestinely disrupting rituals and undermining faith to clear the way, and Ortem the Prophet as a rival or enemy who's a charlatan claiming divine powers in order to fleece commoners. This to me all tied back to the Wayfarer Star. So Ortem the Prophet was, you know, he's in charge of the Wayfarer Star. He's in charge of the Merchants Guild, and he is, it says right here, promoting and profiting from the pilgrimage path. Well, he's claiming divine power to fleece commoners. He's using divinity to make money. That's the tie to this, you know, his doubts of belief. He has some tie to this church, and yet he's seeing that the leader of it, who is claiming to be this holier than thou character, who has the holier symbol, he has an item known as the Galvanic Hammer of Moradin. He is kind of causing Malgo to question his faith. So why is he doing this? Oh yeah, down here. Actually had it. Something's very wrong with the leader of the order. That is tying to Ortem being the leader of the Wayfarer Star. Something's wrong with him. He's not really this like religious figure, really. He's out there just making money, but also causing issues. But why? Well, because he's working with the Salted Earth. He's working with this group that wants to clear the way, that's undermining faith. Well, why are they doing that? Well, the thing about dwarven culture is very traditional. They have ties to their faith and they have ties to their gods. But this Salted Earth, the idea of that is nothing grows in a salted earth. Okay, it's this idea of wiping the slate clean, of, you know, having it so that there is that there should be an eradication of their of the faiths in order to rise to their own power. And I had the right here we have the evocative locations and thematic monsters, catacombs, ghostly apostate. These are very clearly going to tie into the search for these ancient texts. So what I eventually dug into was, first I actually set up who the Salted Earth was. So the Salted Earth is a secret, well-organized, and influential group that originally rose from the shadows of dwarven society. Its members include some of the most influential dwarves, such as nobles, guild leaders, veteran warriors, and in Ortem's case, religious leaders. Their name, the Salted Earth, is derived from an old saying, salt the earth and nothing shall grow. It symbolizes their belief that existing faiths and powers, which they perceive as oppressive and controlling, need to be eradicated so a new order can rise, free from divine manipulation. They wish to clear the way for a new era of dwarven society where dwarves rely on their own innate strengths and cunning rather than deities. Their plan works in multiple phases. The first involves sowing the seeds of doubt amongst the believers in Dwarven of the Dwarven society. They do this by disrupting rituals, tampering with holy relics, and spreading blasphemous rumors to undermine the faith and cause discord among the devout. Their second phase includes placing their members in positions of influence, like Ortem, and doing this within various aspects of Dwarven society. They plan on steering the Dwarven society away from the traditional reliance of the divine towards a more secular leadership, focusing on technological advancement, self-reliance, and political power, more like gnomes. The third phase is about reclaiming and repurposing ancient places of power like the Lost Moradinic Temple for their own goals. They believe that these sacred sites hold untapped mystical power that can be harnessed to solidify their hold over the Dwarven clans and territories. Finally, in the last phase, they plan to openly overthrow the current religious institutions, revealing themselves to be the new leaders and custodians of the Dwarven society, effectively clearing the way for a new era free of gods. So this is the plan of the Salted Earth. This is the first thing I had to come up with, because that was actually the one thing I really didn't know in this, in all of this. I had already started seeing some of the ties of, tying his drive to his transformation, tying the ancient text, the catalyst, that driving force, to his ally, and, those within the friendlier aspects of the Wayfarer Star. But this to me was a mystery, so I had to flesh this out first. Now, his backstory is very much, what you would excuse me. So his backstory, I wanted to tie in as much as I could into this. So Moradin was born into a proud and esteemed lineage of dwarven blacksmiths known as the Four Hammer clan. The Four Hammers were renowned across the land for their unparalleled craftsmanship, with their works gracing the halls of noble dwarves and mighty warriors alike. From a young age, Malgo showed a keen aptitude for the family craft. His father, Thorin Fohammer, noticed his potential and began teaching him the ways of the forge. Malgo spent countless hours at the anvil learning the craft and developing a deep respect for the power of creation that the forge offered. When Malgo reached the age of maturity, he felt a divine calling from Moradin, the dwarven god of the forge. Inspired by this spiritual connection, Malgo became a forge cleric, committing himself to the combined service of his craft and faith. He worked tirelessly at the forge, believing that every hammer strike was a prayer and each crafted piece a testament to Moradin's glory. As part of his service, Malgo joined the Wayfarer Star, a guild responsible for promoting and profiting from a pilgrimage path. His task was to craft holy symbols and relics for pilgrims and devotees, and his work was highly regarded. However, over time, he began to notice disturbing practices within the guild, particularly concerning its leader, Ortem the Prophet. Ortem, who bore the galvanic hammer of Moradin, a holy symbol enhancing magical potency, was hailed as a divine leader. Yet Malgo observed that Ortem was more interested in exploiting the faithful for profit than providing spiritual guidance. This realization caused Malgo to question his faith and his place within the guild, prompting him to confide in Atticus the Elder. Atticus revealed the existence of a tome of ancient text believed to contain long-suppressed knowledge of the Moradinic faith. This ancient tome was said to be hidden within a lost temple filled with relics, guardians, and potentially disgruntled spirits of the faith's past followers. Hearing of this tome's existence, Malgo felt a spark of hope. He believed that finding this text could restore his shaken faith and reveal the truth behind Ortem's deceitful practices. lives. He decided to embark on a journey to recover the ancient tome, a quest that would test his resolve, challenge his skills, and push his faith to the limits. Unbeknownst to Malgo, his journey would uncover more than he bargained for, including the existence of the Salted Earth, a shadowy group manipulating the faith's followers to clear the way. As Malgo journeys forth, he will need to draw upon his blacksmith's resolve, his divine connection, and his faith to confront the truths he discovers, ultimately shaping the destiny of his faith and his people. Oh yeah, I copy and pasted this from my Discord. Funny enough, I typed it over in Google Keep. I pasted it over here for the stream tonight. So yeah, this was all built from a few handfuls of dice rolls. And I gotta say, what Ryan has put together in this is phenomenal. It takes just this spark of rolling some dice, seeing what you get, to really allow yourself to build an awesome character. And it's not even that difficult to do so. I mean, realistically, you know, if you wanted to make somebody who is an animal whisperer, whether you want to play, you know, a ranger who has the Beastmaster background, a story comes from nothing and creates everything. Yeah. You know, whether you want to play as like a Beastmaster ranger where, you know, your whole thing is your connection to animals, you can do that. And it's, you know, just as simple as roll this, a D4, a D6, and a D10. And then we're going to roll over here. We're going to roll 4D6 and a D20. So here we go. Real quick, before the stream ends, we're just going to quickly look over what this character we just rolled up could be. So we got 17. I'm going to leave this up. I'm going to write these all on a side panel. All right, so we got 17. What's their drive, their dream, their aspiration? That is to conserve the natural order by hunting invasives. Okay, so already we have this character who is representing somebody who believes that there are people out there that do not there are creatures out there that are invasive to their world, so they are out there hunting them down. We got an 8 on our D12, which their catalyst, their call to action, their lore drop is unknowingly stumbling into a druidic ritual. Okay. So, you know what, let me copy all these categories over, and then I fucking hate stink bugs. They're all over the place. I don't even want to think about them because they're like, there's like 3 of them. There's like 3 of them like over on the other side of my window now, and I can like, I could hear the one trying to fly out above my my AC unit. Absolutely hate stink bugs. Oh, I already got that. We need thematic monsters. Oop, didn't mean to do that one. And plot hooks adventures. Cool. Okay, so we have all of our dice. I have the categories over on my side. So we have the drive, the dream, the aspiration is to conserve the natural order by hunting invasives. The catalyst, the call to action, and the lore drop is unknowingly stumbling into a druidic ritual. Our transformation, what is our character arc? A lone traveler to community educator. Okay, so that should have a tie to the dream and aspiration. We got a 3 for friendly factions, the Skinwalkers, an enclave of druids, most comfortable wild shaped into animal forms. Okay, be right back, AZ. All right, buddy. So we got a D6, we got the 1, Our assets and allies is a cadre of cute woodland creatures who are helpful, but not constantly singing annoying songs. That's beautiful. Our magic item is an enchanted statuette. When attuned, can summon a beast equal to half their current level. That's actually pretty badass. So who's our antagonist? Our first one, we have a 3. Claire Consortium, a group practicing clear-cutting, strip mining, and other extreme methods. Okay. Number 2 on Rivals, Clade Vendelcombe, a serial killer who targets beasts between killing humanoids. Interesting. So somebody who goes out serial killing animals in between him killing humanoids. Our evocative location, Zootopia, a long fallen city which had a large zoo, descendants of those who are still around. And our thematic monster is a 5, the Mirror Shell. Huge tortoises with powerful jaws and shells that can reflect magic attacks. That's pretty badass. And our plot hook is the Sovereign's pet bear has begun to act erratically. Magical foul play is suspected. Okay, so with all of that, I have already seen some connections. I'm going to pull all these up on screen here. So we're just gonna make a new document real quick. All right. So here we go. Here's everything that we have so far. Our dream, drive, and aspiration is conserve the natural order by hunting invasives. What does invasives mean in this? Well, originally we said this was invasive species. Okay, that was where my mind went, invasive species. But now that we know the antagonistic organization is a group practicing clear-cutting, strip mining, and other extreme methods, that might be the invasives. Okay, this is somebody, this is probably a ranger or a druid who is out there trying to maintain the natural world, who is trying to conserve the natural order. And what is causing tribulations in that? Well, it's this clear consortium. It's a group that is out there stripping down trees, entire forests lay in waste, going in and, reaping out entire mines for all of their resources, fishing rivers to their deaths. So this is the worst thing that could happen to this. Now, where is that going to play? How does that play into this? The transformation. So they're a lone traveler. There's somebody who's out there just really trying to do their own thing for a long time. They're just kind of living on their own. They prefer the wilderness, but they realize over time they can't do it on their own. This is going to be that growth. This is the thing that you as the PC need to understand. This is where you're driving your character towards. Having that realization, you can't do it alone. You have to have somebody there on your side. You have to have other people, okay? And you eventually realize you need to educate people about these worlds, these natural worlds that you have, where it is that they are, how it is that they need to be, and how to save them. This catalyst and friendly faction is 100% tied together. Like this and this, the dreams and aspirations and the transformation, 100% tied together. You need to conserve the natural order by turning away from your lone traveler life and becoming a community educator. And these skinwalkers, this enclave of druids that spends most of their time wild shaped into animal forms, this is the unknowing druidic ritual. Okay, this is the thing that you stumbled upon. one of their druids performing a ritual that they pick a particular wild shape, and they can stay in that for extended periods of time. Okay, you know, maybe that's like a house rule thing, you know, where you can perform this grand ritual and you pick one wild shape and you can wild shape into that, but it's for extended periods of time. So this is what this character stumbled into while out there dealing with this consortium, coming across vast fields of trees that have been wiped out, crop fields that have been raised and salted. Okay, and they're out there trying to find out what's going on, and maybe this plot hook, this story seed, is the thing that guides them to this. The sovereign's bear has been acting erratically, so they hire this character to come into, you know, to find out what's wrong with it. They think some magic has been placed on it. Maybe the bear is trying to escape. So what do? Well, the ranger says, well, let me take him to the forest. Let me take him out of the city. You know, let me take him to somewhere that's more natural. Let me see what it is he's trying to do. And he follows him, and they come and stumble into this druidic ritual. Maybe unbeknownst to the sovereign, her pet bear was actually a druid who got stuck in their wild shape and their erratic actions, because they thought that, like, oh, if I, you know, maybe eventually they figure out, you know, they can somehow change back, but they're like, you know, oh, if I do now, I'll be killed for certain because I'm suddenly gonna change into a human. So they stumble into this ritual. This bear reveals himself to be, you know, a druid. Well, why? Why did this druid, who's part of this enclave known as the Skinwalkers, pose as a pet bear? Well, maybe the sovereign has ties to the Clear Consortium. That's an option. Maybe the sovereign is clearing land to expand their kingdom, their reign. And so they hired the Clear Consortium to do that. And this pet bear, maybe this sovereign actually had a pet bear, but they transformed into a bear. Or maybe this pet bear was just recently bought and it was a druid the whole time, but now it's trying to escape and it can't. So your character shows up to, you know, to help them out and, you know, to find out what's going on with this animal. And you want to take them out into the wilderness to find out what they're going to do. And suddenly they take off and you take off after them, and you stumble into this druidic ritual, which is taking place at Zootopia, a long fallen city which had a large zoo, who the descendants of those animals are still there. It's a place that they overtook. These animals, you know, this fallen city that had this large expansive zoo, it fell. The zoo, the animals there took over. It became the sanctuary for these druids that are more comfortable in wild shaped animal forms. It's the center for these skinwalkers. So, you know, what is this character's story? Well, he's trying to save this, you know, he's trying to conserve the natural order. He's trying to bring balance back into everything. He already has an issue with this group that is going to be doing this, but guess what? Now he has some ties to it. You know, he also has possibly now an enemy. Maybe they think that he stole his bear or something like that. So who comes out after him? Who, the sovereign thinks this ranger stole my bear. He's been gone for days. My bear is who knows where now. And this ranger's nowhere to be seen. I'm gonna hire somebody. Maybe we change this from serial killer to hired assassin who targets beasts in between killing humanoids. My bear has gone off running. A ranger let him out. Find him, kill him, bring back my bear. Who's gonna know better how to, you know, capture a wild beast than an assassin who focuses on that, to hunt it down, to track it? You know, we can change anything we want here. It doesn't need to be a serial killer. It's now a hired assassin. And, you know, we got two more things here. What are we going to tie in? Well, an enchanted statuette. You know, when attuned, you can summon a beast. Okay, maybe this is a magic item maybe this is the item that the druids use to perform this ritual. Maybe it's something that is meaningful to them. It's something that is, you know, important to them. But honestly, we could even just go in here and let's just say instead, we take something that we actually like a little bit differently. Maybe instead of an enchanted statuette, we swap that out for the collar of communication. Grants the ability to speak with animals. Okay? There we go. You can put this on an animal. This is something that the druids use to allow animals to communicate. Okay? This was something that was developed in Zootopia long ago. It's something that some of the animals there have, and it's how they speak to others. And who are some of the animals that are still there? Well, one of them is these mirror shells. Okay, these huge tortoises that belong to the zoo, that over time they have developed this mirror-like sheen on their shell that they use to draw people away from their enclave, from Zootopia. And they use it to create this illusion that this location does not exist. There's a number of them around Zootopia. These are creatures that maybe this ranger has to deal with when he goes there, or maybe they are monsters that the enemies have to deal with. Okay? Something like this can all be wrapped into a really cool backstory. Okay? Every part of this can be a really evocative backstory. And you as the DM could sit down and say, okay, cool. I now have the Claire Consortium to work with, so that's going to be a big thing. So I'm going to have like loggers, I'm going to have, you know, fire starters, I'm going to have these giant businesses. I have an assassin who's hunting this guy down. We got a long fallen, you know, animal infested druidic enclave with these huge tortoises that, should the party pose a threat, they can turn around and, you know, go after them. And we also have the sovereign who's wanting to hunt him down because he feels that, oh, if the sovereign stumbles upon Zootopia, there is going to be hell to pay because he's going to blame them for beguiling his pet bear. So I wanted to, you know, I really wanted to sit down and, you know, kind of show off this awesome book that Ryan put together to just show how easy it is to roll some dice, get some cues, and start connecting lines. This is the kind of stuff that I live for. I love making interesting and cool characters, and this is just a way to really light that fire. It's the spark that you need to get it up and running. So that was kind of the main point about doing this stream tonight. I wonder why someone would wild shape into... Wait, what is going on here? Oh, I missed something. I have a question. What happens if you milk a wild-shaped cow? And what if a wild-shaped chicken laid eggs? And most importantly, what if a male druid wild-shaped... Well, what happens if you wild-shape a cow? Well, you physically become a cow. So that would argue that you would have milk producing capabilities. So you would get milk. What if a wild shaped chicken laid eggs? This actually goes back to DM discretion. This is something that I've had to like deal with in previous D&D sessions, where somebody was like, if I wild shape into a bird and I pluck a feather and I give that to somebody, what does that become whenever my wild shape, or I think it was polymorph, like, does it stay a feather? Does it become a hair because my hair becomes the feathers because I pulled it from my head? That was actually something, and I've argued it stays the thing it is. Okay. So if you wild shaped into a chicken, you could lay an egg and it's just a chicken egg. Okay, your ability to wild shape back doesn't change the fact that you are now a human. You were a chicken. You were still a chicken when you laid that egg. And if a male druid shapes into a female cow, you have the ability to produce milk. You're just a female cow. Simple as that. Why would someone wild shape into a cow that still has milk? So here's the reason. Let's say you are a party, you are adventuring, and your DM is very particular about running a campaign where you have to actually eat and drink at regular intervals. What's a way to kind of go around that? You have the druid wild shape into an egg, and you have the character who knows polymorph turn into a cow. You now have milk and you have eggs, and there you go. That's simple as that. But yeah, so like I said, that was some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about tonight. The Game Master's Compendium. I pulled it away. There we go. The Game Master's Compendium of Explosive Creation by Ryan Doyle over at Verdigris Table. There it is there. Go and check out his Discord. Check out his Patreon as well. And take a look at this. He said he's going to be expanding it. He's just doing it alphabetically. But my God, thousands of characters to be made right here on just these couple pages. We made 2 of them today, and I'm already loving both of them. But beyond that, it's probably going to do it for tonight. Now, if I did have more time, it is free on Patreon. Yes. He did want it free on Patreon, so that is over there. It's ready to grab. Yeah, we'll, I was gonna spend some time talking about some of my more recent D&D homebrew creations. I've made a few in the past few weeks. Oh wait, I probably should have done it this way. No, yeah, this works. I have made a few in the past few weeks. So, we'll have to save these for another day, but to just kind of wet your whistle a little, there we go. The Flesh Graft Horror. A large aberration that can seal your mouth and nostrils to suffocate you. Can seal your eyes to blind you, seal your ears to deafen you, and seal your limbs to your body to reduce your speed to 0. A coin mimic. Funny enough, I actually introduced a coin-based monster called a golden scarab that would eat gold coins and poop out golden scarabs. It's just an economy wrecker. Yeah, no, coin mimics are 100% a thing. It's a beautiful thing to just throw into a chest somewhere. Let it eat the player's coins. Yeah, the Fleshgraft horror is a monstrous entity born from the darkest reaches of the Shadowfell. Its creation is shrouded in mystery and dread, a perversion of life and nature that serves as a testament to the horrors that this grim reality can spawn. Their grotesque bodies are a chilling sight to behold, composed of a medley of different flesh types, melded and mutated into a singular horrific form. Bulbous eyes sourced from countless creatures cover their bodies and dart around spasmodically, lending them an unnerving and almost hypnotic appearance. The abomination's many arms, each ending in deformed appendages, constantly undulate and twist, seeking the next piece of flesh to add to their horrifying collection. Fleshgraft horrors have a terrifying ability to bond and manipulate flesh. With a mere touch, they can seal a creature's mouth and nostrils to suffocate them, or bond their eyes shut to plunge them into darkness. They have been known to cause an agonizing fusion of limbs, rendering a creature immobile or deafening them with an eerie silence. This morbid power appears to cause no physical pain, but the mental torment it inflicts is beyond description. Yay! Fleshgraft horrors. So yeah, we'll talk about this next time. But some of the other things that I've made, we made a barbarian that called the Path of the Reality Rupturer. Barbarians who walk the path of the reality rupturer have discovered an unusual conduit for their rage. They don't just break bodies with their fury, they break the laws of nature and logic. Their intense fury bends and rends the fabric of reality, causing bizarre and potent effects to burst forth. When you're so angry, the universe says, I can't handle this. We got the Bardic College of the Hammer Drummer. This is in response to the Wizard Blade Singer. In the heart of the mountains, dwarven kingdoms, rhythm is not just a form of art, but a way of life, woven into the clang of hammers and the drumming of heartbeats echoing in the deep tunnels. Dwarven bards of the College of the Hammer Drummer tap into the rhythmic tradition, drumming on their shields, the ground, and their foes in turn, creating music as tough and enduring as the stones around them. Dwarven bards of this college are not subtle. When they enter a room, everyone knows it. When they start to play, everyone listens. And when they go to war, everyone trembles. I really love this class because it's all about thunder damage and being able to knock your enemies around and incapacitate them. So we have the Barbarian Path of Shadows. This is one I've talked about before, but I've never talked about it on stream. Barbarians that tread the Path of Shadows had found a kinship with the ebon veil of the Shadowfell. These warriors harness the darkness and the cold, somber energy of this plane, using it to augment their primal rage with supernatural abilities. They are feared by many as they have the power to become living shadows, disappearing and reappearing from the darkness and shrouding their enemies in a chilling gloom. Finally, the Effigy Artisan Artificer, Justin Kylie. What's up? Thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. An effigy artisan is an artificer who meticulously crafts miniature effigies, weaving and carving their influence into the world. These creations, more than mere dolls, are mystic conduits linked to the beings they replicate. Through these effigies, the artisan can control, afflict, or hinder those represented, pulling the strings of fate with each twist, pull, or careful placement of a pin. Each piece a unique testament to their skill, from carefully woven cloth dolls to meticulously carved wooden figurines embodying the puppeteer's grip over the world around them. Yeah, so absolutely been loving making some homebrew subclasses, and yeah, gonna talk more about them probably next week, because we've been going for about 3.5 hours. And I gotta get over to my brother's place. It's 1:30 in the morning, and I gotta go drive about 15 minutes over to my brother's place because I gotta go watch his house for a week. So you have a little bit of a taste of what we have to work with for next week. So join us again next Monday, 9:30, for another episode of D&D&Chill. I want to thank everybody who came by and hung out for tonight. Stacy, Jared was here, Glenn was here. Enforcer Hound, we got to make a wonderful, awesome character for him. We had a lovely Ms. Raid from him and his followers, as well as AZ Haven coming by for the first time and talking about his unfortunate situation with a crappy D&D game. But hey, there's always the future. There's always new sessions to be had. And also our most recent chatter and follower, thank you so much, Justin Kyle 11. That's your name. I looked up at my screen and I couldn't read it. A brother's house. Yeah, that's right. It's not AZ. Oh, what is it? What is it? I'm sorry, I have been mispronouncing your name. Correct me now. This is how I work. I'll never learn if I'm not taught. There's only one way to actually pronounce it. I have been I don't know about you. See, I look at that. Oh, wait, there's no way it's Azzy. Oh, it's Azzy? Okay. I guess I could read it as it's like you're missing the J off of Jazzy Haven. So, see, I was thinking of it more of like if you would spell lazy with a double Z. That's what I was thinking. But I mean, hey. Hey, you know what? This is why Hazy, yeah, that's it, you know, just that extra Z. Because here's the thing, man, you throw a Z somewhere, it just becomes a fantasy term, you know. You throw in a random Z or like replace an I with a Y. I've said so many times in the past, if you ever want to make a fantasy name, just replace a Y or an I with a Y. AZ is not a word, but yeah, what is it then? What is Azzy? I'm curious. The stream will go on until you answer my query. What is Azzy Haven then? It's a name. Is it? Is Azzy a name? Oh, holy shit. There is actually somebody out there online known as Azzyland. They're a Canadian YouTuber, gamer, and singer. Their name is Azra or Azzy. Hey, they were born the same year I was, 1991. Take Azzy having some yeah. See, dude, you gotta understand, man, like names are just one of those things that like you're never gonna see. People see my name, I've been using the name Kelf for ever since I was in high school. I've been using the online handle of Kelf, and through Xbox and, you know, every online interaction, the amount of times I got called Kelp just, you know, boggles the mind. I've constantly said, like, there's an H there, and a PH makes a F sound. So go ahead and retry that one. But I now know for the future. So I will from here on pronounce it Aussie. So Aussie Haven, thank you so much for coming by. You've been a wonderful chatter and I appreciate your presence, but I gotta go get some sleep and go to work. Azzy is short for Azrael. My name, dude. That's sick. Funny enough, what I will leave this on, that character that I was talking about before, the one who is the second in line, the one who is closest to the DM and who, you know, has the closest spot to the DM. His name is Azazel, and his Azamirian lineage comes from the fact that his family had an interaction with the Solar named Azrael. And I have a pendant. I don't have it with me right now. I have a pendant that is the symbol of Azrael. And in Azazel's backstory, he had a younger brother. Yes, Azazel spelled like that is two different characters. But Azazel, my character Azazel, he had a younger brother named Vandril, and Vandril was taken by a shadow demon. And they each had this pendant. They had a pendant with the symbol of Azrael, and Azazel's had his name etched into the back of it, and Vandril had his name etched into the back of it. Well, when Vandril was taken by the shadow monster, and Azazel pursued him through the forest, and all he found was that pendant. It was sitting in a little clearing there in the forest. And he took that, and when he left home, he searched for his brother for weeks, and his parents finally gave up on this. And he said he vowed he would never give up on looking for his brother. And so he tore off his pendant and he gave that to his parents. And he said, "You can remember me the same way I still remember my brother." And he kept the one that said Vandril. And when I started playing that character, I ordered an Azrael pendant and had the back of it etched with the name Vandril, so I could wear that while I was playing it, because that was his spell casting focus. That was the thing that bonded him to his character, to his driving motivation. And so when I got to play Azazel, I had that pendant with me, and that was my spell casting focus. And I would constantly talk about, like, the pendant would glow when he cast his spells. Yeah. I'll have to do one day. I know I'm gonna say this, and I know Stacy's gonna hold it to me. Yeah, I know Stacy's probably gonna hold it to me, but maybe one of these days I'll do a recital of his backstory. It takes time to read it. Yeah, that pendant. It's somewhere around here. I know I actually just recently came upon it. I can't remember where. I was seeing if it was inside this little box I had. But I'll see if I can track it down. Yeah, funny enough, I actually tried ordering a pendant of Lathander around the same time, but it never got delivered. There was like an issue with the delivery. May I know my name just comes from the fact I like Christian religion and storytelling, specifically twists like Dark Souls. Oh yeah, sick. Yeah, no, I totally get that. Yeah, mine, funny enough, mine just comes from, I had to make a story that had a fantasy theme to it, and I needed a character, I needed a, use voice type. Oh, I get you. So does Jared. I can see that now. I got Kelf because I had to do a fantasy-based story, and I needed a name, so I went online. This was before like name generators were a thing, and I went to a website that just had an entire list of Celtic themed names. So I scrolled down at one point and stopped and just closed my eyes, put my finger on the screen, and it said the name Clef, Kleph. And I was like, oh, that makes me think of like, the split in the chin thing. And so I was like, all right, we'll just change that E and the L, Kelf. That sounds good. And yeah, been that ever since. I'm also Irish with a thick accent. Oh man, that's sick. I love the Irish accent. It'd be rough. Yeah. Then I'm glad that you know what, it's moments like this I'm glad I don't stream my the other games I run on, or I play on Wednesdays, because I play in a Marvel RPG game where I play a Scottish superhero named Dale Annoch, and I can't do freedom. I can't do Scottish or Irish accents to save my life, and I mix them up constantly, and then I also eventually just mush them back into a British accent. So this Scottish American superhero named Arc Rider constantly fades between Irish, Scottish, and British. So yeah, they got a voice. Well, hey, that's good to know. Good to know. I will keep that in mind. I wish oh man, that's a dream I had at one point, becoming a voice actor. Maybe one day, who knows. But that's gonna do it for me. I gotta head out of here. I gotta get over to my brother's place and let his dogs out. They have been fed, and I let them out before, but it's been a few hours. So thanks for joining me, everybody. I will see you guys in just a few days. So as some of you know, but some of you may not know, I do streams Monday nights. We do D&D&Chill here on the channel. Thursday nights we do about an hour and a half long stream known as the First 15, where I play 3 video games I've never played before, and we give them a try for just 15 minutes a piece. It's a lovely little show. And then every Sunday, as long as everybody is available to play and none of us have something else going on, streaming 2 different D&D games. So yeah, and then I also do streams intermittently. So thank you everybody who showed up tonight. As always, I have a grand time doing this, and I love talking to you guys. So, think I can join? I mean, hey, if I have a dropout or anything, you know, we'll see. I'll definitely keep you in mind. I don't have room in any of my games at the moment, but like I said, I do plan on running some one-shots soon. That's still coming down the pipeline. So, I will keep you informed. You will be the first one to know. So, I will see you guys later. You have a wonderful night. I'll see you on Thursday if I don't see you before then. Good night.